Oh my God, y'all saw that, right? Wah, 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 wah. Oh, I'm dead.
For him.
Yes. All right, mics are live. No, the thing about the Deep Stone is that speaking of robots, there's Voltron reference. The thing about the Deep Stone is that the comparison to whatever the hell it's called, the enchilada.
Cladius.
That one. Oh my God, Abide the Return is an amazing looking sword. By the by.
Yeah. The version I have of it is really shitty. Like, it doesn't. My Crucible sword does a hell of a lot better damage than that one. Anyway,
I don't even care. I threw iron to steel on it, and oh my God, the blade is blackened metal with a silver and gold grip. Oh, I don't even care. It actually does pretty decent damage too. But
nice.
I got up to 540 ish, 544.
Hey, you're getting there.
I should be able to bump up to 545, 546, and then I should be able to solo this stupid spider quest. I've fallen in love with this prodigal cloak again. I forgot how much I really actually like it.
I'm kind of dragging Cole into chat so she can hear it.
Fucking walkie-talkie on your shoulder.
I like the new sparrow that I have that has like the little. It's like the hummingbird sparrow. It has the really needlepoint nose.
The Edelin bird.
I have
or
that.
Eidolon
that
bird.
I have that
I love
one,
it.
But I also
That's
have.
the one I have.
There's another one that just dropped for me that is an identical model. And it's called Gravity Maestro, and it says "Make physics sing." I'm like, this is mine for the rest of my life.
The Eidolon bird.
What I'm gonna drive.
Like, first off, I really actually kind of like it. I like the on holy wings you fly, but I threw so I got Blue Shift Dreams, the shader. I don't know. I'm assuming that you've probably seen this, but like the shader actually has motion in it. It actually ripples.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. On my Sparrow,
it Dreaming City shader.
Sure. Yes. I mean, that would make sense.
It is.
I don't know where I got it. But yeah, so like I have the blue shift on there, and oh my God, it's so pretty. And yes, it's like itty bitty.
Yeah. Can we revisit that question? Because Cole just popped into chat.
Yeah, do you want to reiterate the question?
So the question that was brought up was, if an exo was reset and then dies right after reset and the ghost reses them, are they resed in the new version, the resetted version, or the prior version? So bad example would be Cade 6. Cade gets upgraded to Cade 7, dies. Is he resed at Cade 6 or is he resed at Cade 7? So that's kind of the shorthand.
So to clarify, the reset has completed.
Yes.
Then he would be revived as 7.
That's what I thought too.
It's the state upon which the Guardian dies that seems to be the state that they're returned to. I would honestly argue that this is also the reason that Guardians can live forever, is because the ghost is basically constantly resurrecting dead cells. So they're stuck, and it also begs the situation of Shin, for example, with the theory that Shin was the child guardian. It would explain how Shin was able to quote unquote age, but not necessarily die of old age.
So, but if that's the case, are we continually aging? Because the process of aging is the dying cells.
We might be immortal, but we're not eternally young, I would argue. We're not stuck in time.
Okay.
I mean, if
Even
we if
though in game at the moment we look to be that.
well, but in game we haven't aged because
Because we die too much?
well, there's that argument, but there's also the argument that like you can say like you don't have to. So like if your ghost is continuously resurrecting you to state that you're in the prime of being,
Mhm.
this is very common in a lot of stories with like supernatural shapeshifting and stuff like that. Like shapeshifters will often get quote unquote like if your shapeshifter is linked with immortality, um, there seems to be a connection where like the process, the supernatural process of resurrecting or regenerating will like for some arbitrary reason lock into a quote unquote prime state of
Mhm.
being, and then that's where, and it could be, you know, if a guardian has a scar, technically you could argue that that guardian had the scar before they were resurrected. Now it begs the question, can a guardian choose not to heal a wound? And in such case you have like Asher, you know, I mean,
Right.
there's instances of that.
Oh, speaking of Asher, like if since Asher's been altered by the Vex himself, the ghost like he still has a ghost.
Yes, hang on real quick,
So
Jonathan, we don't know that Saladin has aged,
the
to
only
be
thing
to
that
be fair.
with Jonathan's though is if we look at the Rise of Iron trailer, he it's hard to tell because the graphics are so much
Mm,
better in the trailer
yeah,
versus what we see him in the game.
I still don't think that he's aged. I did not.
He
I mean,
maybe
like
he got
he
a little
could
bit more
have,
pepper. I'd
but I
have to go
mean,
look at it.
but the other thing is arguably, you know, this is also instance of like Osiris, right? Osiris is not elderly, but he's not quote unquote in the prime,
Right.
young viral, you know, whatever. But for his purposes, is he in the prime? Because he's a warlock, right?
Right.
Warlocks and value what? They don't value physical strength, they value intelligence. And
Mhm.
so, you know, it could be, and obviously, you know, it also allows for the fact that every single person is an individual who's unique in their own way. So, you know, there's that component as well. I mean, there's a ton of variables that can go into the effect, but you see this with like, you know, a lot of the ancient myths of magicians and stuff like that, where they're
Mhm.
quote unquote immortal. I mean, Merlin's a weird example because Merlin was aging backwards, but like
Right.
there are things within the Merlin mythos that, you know, would go along with this as well. Like if they get stuck, it's usually assumed that they get stuck around the prime situation for their context, if that makes sense.
Okay. So here's
Ephrodite was the youngest, but again, was that physical youngness or was that she was the most recently raised? Is the begging
here's
the question
another
there.
question for you. And this was the one we were talking about a little bit after the initial time I asked you. Was the Deep Stone Crypt a location? And we kind of went back and forth on that. It is a subroutine. Hi, Beard, by the way. Um, the Deep
Yeah,
Stone Crypt being a subroutine and not necessarily what we
enchilada.
can say is
Um,
Encladius.
I would argue, as far as the information that we have currently inside and outside of game, you can't. I mean, to be blunt, you can't answer that. Um, Given the inference that we have about the deep stone that we have right now, I would argue actually that it's not a physical location. I would
Mhm.
argue that it is a subroutine program, and that any references to locations such as the Ghost Fragment Legends dream is exactly that. It's a dream state in which you are seeing through the eyes of the exo that is experiencing the subroutine, which means that it's a mental state. It's a basically, if you think about it, it's a fever dream,
Right.
which would explain where you have like the references of the fractal shapes, which is like, you know, they're in their minds, and an exo mind is a machine at the core. And so fractal shapes are arguably like the dawning crystal, the mandalas, like, you know, they're computer generated perfect shapes. And so that could be, I always have taken that as a symbolic battle. They're not physically killing everyone they know, obviously. But that being said, that is, I mean, because that's the reference that they always bring up is the Deep Stone Crypt Tower, the Dark Tower on the
Mhm.
field of fractal shapes. But you have to remember that the army that they're killing is not an army, like literally an army. It's a comprised of everyone they know. It's comprised of the memories that they hold. And so when we first, like, when we really far back, when we were first talking about this, if you think about it from a computer standpoint, it's basically defragging.
They're deleting each person's memory as they're going through.
Which is why when you have resets that the Deep Stone Crypt is the catalyst of, not only are they additional numbers, but that's why they don't remember anything, is because they have actually actively deleted every piece of memory for the most part, except for
buried
basic,
it.
like, yeah, and I guess that opens the debate there as well, because then you have because like the only instances of exos really that we have are Guardians, and even Cade has mentioned that it kind of
Ada 1.
Right, but I mean, but we don't.
She's not a Guardian.
I mean, oh, sorry, yeah, but I mean, we have Lakshmi too. But I mean, what I mean, sorry, let me back up. The only instance of exos who are explaining Deep Stone Crypt really are from the Guardian exos, and Cade's point is that the light in infusing the exos with light, it does mess up some of that stuff. So like Cade's flickering of memories, we don't know for certain that is not a unique component of being risen or being resurrected. It could be something that's getting jacked with because of, whether you want to argue the multiple verse theory or a temporal shift ability. Like either one of those could arguably mess up deletion, because you're messing with the state of that individual's presence or existence.
I would also have everybody look back on Winter's Guile.
That we were talking about that as well, because Winter's Guile also hints that Fellwinter does remember stuff as well. Now, because Fellwinter, because he knows enough to know that this wasn't a normal reset, right? Because he's like, no, I always remember, but like, and so that also kind of goes back to my view of it being like a defrag, because there are components that aren't
falls back towards other possibilities of what need to be talked about with Shinobu, because when we start talking about Guardian Resurrection, even if it is an exo, it still needs to be looked at from the perspective of what is carried over. And Shinobu gives us a little bit more instance and inference on that angle.
Do we know, was Shinobu a exo?
Shinobu's not an exo, no. Does sound like Shinobu was a human, or
I was going to say, because because she's the one, she was a 2-namer, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Which also could possibly mean that she was awoken from what we kind of know now at this point with some of the naming schemes, which also hints back to Eris because of Eris Morn. Just gonna throw that out there. But
Zavala doesn't have 2 names, which is the funny thing.
Right, but that actually makes...
Well, I guess Petrovenge, never mind.
Petrovenge, yeah. That actually makes sense for Zavala, though, with the way that he was... or at least like how he was kind of put together, or who he is.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Because he technically wouldn't stand on a lot of that, or he's basically given up on a lot of his original and traditional standings as what a human being was for him, versus the Awoken that a good majority of them are trying to cling to that.
Also,
right. And I'm silly. Zavala does have 2 names. His first name is Commander. Silly me.
No. Zavala is a Guardian. Most of the Awoken that we know that have 2 names are not necessarily Guardians, for one. Also, Zavala was recognized by Paladin is it Camilla?
Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala recognizes him. And there's another card which we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, where Mara Aldrin brings an Awoken Guardian to Mara's attention.
Oh my God, Savin's resurrection is one of the funniest. The ghost is like crap.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is amazing.
Mara also
and Pins is starting off strong.
Dang, Pins. Thank you. Oh, we're supposed to open things tonight.
Oh shit, yeah, we are.
Pins, are we supposed to? Do you want us to open it now before the show, or what do we do? Pins, you're in charge of this.
You're the organizer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't play with a controller anymore.
Black Flag. She's not even here.
He's setting the standard now. Dear God, Pens. Oh my gosh.
I gotta go.
You gotta go what? You're gonna go grab it?
Yeah, it's gonna say, Pins, are we supposed to, are you wanting us to open these things before the show?
I don't think he's paying attention.
He's not,
I don't think so.
He's too worked
Oh,
up
okay,
over
he's
the
asking, he's
19,000
asking him.
bits.
Oh, I
He was
guess
asking.
I forgot.
Oh, what are you?
Chocolate
Yeah.
Shark's in chat. I didn't even notice. I'm sorry.
Release the shiny. All right, let me go grab it real quick.
Release the shiny. I may have like semi sort of shaken it to try to see if it moved. It's too well packaged. Like I'm shaking it right now. You guys can't
hear anything. I already did that. I shook it as well. Hang on.
I know.
Let me see.
I'm like a 12-year-old.
I'm gonna throw the webcam on here.
Okay, that's good. At least they'll be able to see one of ours.
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah, this is important.
Yes.
Oh man. It's thick plastic. Yes. Very thick plastic.
Here's
It's a box of air. And I think it's a little heavier than that, luckily.
Here's a simple question, I guess, for most of what we were just talking about. Do we know of any Guardians that have reset?
There's none that have
That's
been
what I was.
active.
Yeah. Well, because I would argue
honestly,
that's the thing is like I don't think it's possible.
I don't think we know anybody in game who has reset since we've been in game.
Well, there is the possibility of Banshee because he originally was trying to log in as Banshee 43, and of course he is Banshee 44. So I'm wondering if he wasn't Banshee 43 and then he did go through a reset. But most of what I can think of, like I can't think of a single EXO that we know of that's gone through a reset, like at all. I don't know, at least as like a Guardian especially, because at least for the sake of what am I thinking here? At least for the sake of like what
It's a dirty trick. It can't open it from the side. Stupid FedEx boxes.
like what we know about ghosts.
Oh, that's why I can't hear it because it's wedged in there. Okay, so are you guys opening yours?
Yeah, I'm trying.
I'm fine. Let me go get
I'm making lots of grunting sounds to make sure they know I'm working on it.
Oh, never mind.
No, don't go there. It's too early.
Hey, guess what? So really fun. It's another thing that's wrapped.
A thing that's wrapped inside of it? Oh, I see that.
I mean, I would expect that to be a box within a box within a box.
I mean, it's not quite that.
But that's pretty much serendipitous of what we do every.
Oh my
week,
gosh.
isn't it?
That is an awesome card, guys.
I don't have a knife with a gut portion on it. What are you talking about?
Do you want me to read this card?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It says, to the FFC podcast team, the moderator team of Focus Fire Chat would like to take this opportunity to thank each of you for your devotion to this podcast and the continued success of its community. Without each of your personalities, the podcast or this amazing community would not be the same without you. And we want to say thank you for all you do each and every day. Your impact on not just this community, but the greater Destiny lore community means so much to so many people. We hope that through these few words of thanks and this small gift, you can hold your heads high and know that each one of you has made a positive impact on the lives of so many Guardians. From the darkest depths of the Hellmouth to the highest peaks of Io. You have always said and have always shown that you are here for us when we need it, so please know that we are here for you as well. As your devoted moderator team, please know that we will always have your back. Remember to always explore together. Thanks, Guy. I loved it. This card is awesome. I really like that. Let me see if I can
Do you have the Dawning one? Is it the same for all of us?
I assume
like it's the Dawning
so.
photos?
Yeah.
That's a, like... This is concept art, isn't it? Yeah, that's the same one I have. I think that's concept art.
Oh, it's cardboard.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
Pew pew! Chew chew!
Where the heck did you people get this stuff made? 'Cause
Whoa.
this art is amazing.
Oh my
Holy
god, this is
crap.
amazing.
It's got a
Okay.
magnet on the back too.
Yeah. Okay, so here, let me see if I can get this.
I guess I should open the package, huh?
Yeah, Beard, come on.
I mean, look, I was just
Oh,
opening
yours
the
is
cards
different than
a little
mine.
bit ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you have the hunter with the traveler. I have.
Oh, wow.
Hang on.
I'm gonna have to send you a. Can I send you a photo?
send me a picture and I'll throw it up in chat. I'm gonna try to get this plastic off.
They're
so I can
metal.
actually... Yeah, it's
they are.
displate. I've been playing with you. Oh my god, that's a big magnet.
I need to get the plastic off, otherwise it's gonna.
The reflection. I don't wanna.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Oh my god, this is awesome, guys.
Oh shit.
All right, let me see if that.
This one is going up on my wall as soon as I can figure out how to mount it.
Yeah, displate. This
yeah.
is. Little Rabbit says that displate. He's really no. It's. Oh shit, Beard. That's awesome.
Okay.
Mhm.
Incoming photo. I'm
With
gonna
this
throw it
displate,
in.
you have planted 10 trees.
Aw, that's cool. Alright, coming into your private DM.
This is awesome. All right, let me see.
I mean,
Hey,
I know mine was really hard.
Anna, you want to come see what they got?
These are super cool, guys. Thank you so much. Mod team, you guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, guys. I certainly did not need to do that at all, but thank you so
No
much.
kidding.
And then Green got. Oh, Green. I like that's the concept art of the hunter stuff.
Uh-huh. It is.
Or had the webcam up. Hang on, Anna's looking at it. All right, let's see. Let me. Pop, pop, pop.
Let's see here.
Just see if I can just share.
The New Monarchy logo on the chest plate? It does! It is the New Monarchy! Thanks! That's even more special!
What is it?
It's
It's
the
the New
concept art, but
Monarchy.
it's the New Monarchy chest plate from year 1.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
I
All
just
right,
like-
hang on.
The
I
cloak
just
is
like
different.
that y'all picked the one from Taken King.
For
That's
you?
the Storm, yeah, because it's the Taken King Stormcaller Warlock.
Nice.
Which
Did you
had
put...
the hand cannon in the back of it and everything, but it's
Oh, I
the
see.
Osiris type armor as well.
Yeah, that one's really cool looking too. I like...
Yeah.
Yours is way more chaotic looking, which is really, really dynamic.
Which are y'all trying to say something?
I'm
Mhm,
not trying to
mhm.
say anything. There's
You're
mine,
absolutely
Beard.
insane. All right, there's Beards on screen.
Yeah, Blue put
that's-
blue in his hair a couple weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah. And then there's Greens. And then I think what she was saying is the chest. You said the chest armor was the focus fire.
Uh-huh.
Or the, sorry, focus
Yeah,
fire.
that's
The
the-
future war cult.
New Monarchy. New Monarchy.
New Marquee. Whatever. It's. I don't have allegiance to. Oh, I see that. Okay, I see the.
Yeah. I may have gotten in a tiny tiff with Anon on Twitter over it. Although Hideo did deserve that punch to the face.
That's really cool.
Yeah, those are super cool.
Yeah, all of them are super duper awesome, guys.
Well, that's the show, everybody. Now.
Yeah,
there
bye.
we go. That's it. See ya.
So wait, hang on.
Okay.
Isn't it trick at the light? Yeah, no, my office was really confused, but I told them, I was like, I just wanted to do it, and they're like, okay.
See you, little rabbit.
They didn't have a Future War Cult or Dead Orbit one, as Penn said. Yay. Cool. Well, do we want to do top 3?
Yeah, on that note, let's try to focus and...
We can be lighthearted still. We're talking about childhood cartoons. You guys did manage to find cartoons that were different from your first time around, right?
I don't...
Okay. Batman the Animated Series. Got it.
Oh, that's how you hang it. The magnet
Beard
has adhesive on it. Oh god, that's a strong magnet.
We lost Blue. Science.
Hey, no, magnets aren't science, they're magic. Fight me.
I learned better about a year ago.
What? They're like airplanes, they're magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Shiny has blue.
Yeah, it is. The cityscape is like a dark shade of blue, and I really like it.
That is it's really pretty. These are just, it's hard to, yeah.
And it's got a scout rifle. I love it.
Okay.
I loves it.
He loves it. And I can get away with having it because I didn't buy it.
That's exactly what I just thought. I was like, and I'm not going to get in trouble.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
I may have at my holiday, like my office does a Secret Santa thing. And it's an online Elfster type thing where you can put your wish list on there. Every single item I put on my wish list was a Destiny related item. I got a 3 months Xbox Live subscription and a coloring book of farting animals because my coworkers are 12. But this is way more sentimental. Penn says I can have Julie and Anna yell at you, or yell at Pens, not you, Blue. Pens, don't make Julie send you another pan of baklava. Although I don't think she would mind it. Right. I asked Santa for a recurve bow. So did apparently somebody else in game.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Everything I want for Christmas is too expensive. Uh-oh. That's why I go for trips on Christmas time instead.
All I want for Christmas is time.
Is your 2 front teeth?
I mean, I don't know about that. They're in there. They're okay.
They're in there. They're hanging around. Okay, Blue, are you ready?
Sure.
Are you staring at the shiny new thing?
I was, but now I'm trying. Yeah, no, I'm ready. I'm just gonna have to go on the fly on this one. I had a weird childhood. I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons.
Oh, Julie wasn't either. So.
I've been struggling, but I think I can figure it out.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to necessarily do cartoons. Just you can do childhood shows that you watched in general.
We weren't allowed to watch TV, so yeah, we had a fun childhood.
Julie got stuck watching a lot of oldies, like old movies and stuff, which is not necessarily stuck watching, but that was her childhood as well. Yeah, happy Hanukkah. Anyway.
All right, I'm ready whenever you guys are.
I'm good.
Okay. Here we go.
Welcome to FFC Top 3, a show where we, your FFC hosts, count things down from 3 to number 1. Thank you for joining us this week. If you have a suggestion, you hear this every week. You know where to drop a line to suggest topics, and I'm actually starting to get to the bottom of my list. So if you have a topic that you want us to discuss, our top 3 of favorites of whatever, please hit us up on Twitter, in Discord, or even at Focus Fire Chat at our Gmail, focusfirechat@gmail.com. This week, we are kind of sort of revisiting our childhood a little bit. Instead of doing teenage years, favorite anime, we're actually doing our childhood TV shows or cartoons. I'm kind of adding a little addendum based off of recent discoveries within our host, which I guess I kind of knew that ahead of time. But Blue, do you want extra time to go?
No, I'm good.
Or do you want? You're good. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
And I'll go. Beard can go second this week.
Yeah, that's fine. So I actually just realized I don't know if this is actually the name of the show, but it was the Pirates of Dark Waters. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called? Is that the show?
Pirates of Dark Waters? I don't know.
Oh my god, it was freaking amazing.
It was but I can't remember if that's exactly what it is.
I'm gonna say
that is the name of it. I just looked it up.
Is it? Okay. It's basically like a twist on Sinbad, but with more supernatural stuff. It was really, from what I remember, it was really good. I actually now that I'm talking about it, I kind of want to go watch it again. But it actually was a pretty decent little cartoon. It reminds me a lot of I think it was it Disney that did Treasure Planet? Or was that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that type of kind of feel, kind of that feel with the attitude of Titan AE. It was a lot of really different shows kind of blended together. I don't know. It was a really fun. I don't even know if there was on for very long, to be honest.
This is one of the Hanna-Barbera shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
And the only reason I remember this show is because of this character that is this Griffin character that's red with human ears that was really creepy. I don't even know the character's name, but I remember him. Okay. I recognize this show. Oh, and the evil bad guy with the talisman? Yeah, I totally recognize
the evil
this.
guy, and then the Dark Waters themselves, which was super creepy and probably explains my distaste or distrust of water that I can't see the bottom of.
Okay. Huh. Man, I'm excited for the rest of this list of yours, because it's okay, I have not thought of this show in forever.
Really eclectic, I'll be honest.
I'm okay with that.
My taste and stuff is, if you guys haven't figured that out, it's usually either really boring or really weird. But before we go down that rabbit hole, let's go to Beard.
Yeah.
I'm probably boring for the opposite reason, because I'm going to be a little bit more what's the
predictable?
word now? Predictable. Yes, thank you. I don't know why the heck I completely forgot that word. Yeah, I guess I'm too chaotic for this podcast. So my number 3 is going to be a golden oldie, one that has been rebooted I don't know how many times at this point. Has now turned them into aliens.
Super Senpai.
Not okay with? No.
Okay.
No, I'm being good.
My Little Pony.
Ow! Jiminy Crickets, what's wrong with you? Do you even know me? My number 3, before we let Blue have any more mic time, is Teenage Mutant Ninja
Oh my
Turtles.
gosh,
That's your number 3?
That's my
That's
number
my number
2.
3.
Like the original
Yeah.
ones, right?
Yes,
Because all the other ones,
out of the 80s.
yeah, the ones that are actually good, because all the other ones are terrible. The animation
Yeah.
is just they have the brand new one that just
Yep.
like got released. My son was watching it and I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I'm like, that's not animation. That's not even close to animation.
Yeah.
Who thinks that's animation? Because they are wrong.
that cracks me up. That was
You're doing
Yeah.
it wrong.
No, definitely number 3, though. I know that a
Weird.
lot of people will look at me funny and be like, oh my God, how could that be your number 3? And I'm just like, well, as much as, TMNT is amazing, there are points that it really does treat you like completely as a kid, which is exactly what they're supposed to do. But it's one of those that I can definitely say is still enjoyable and fun. Even to this day, I go back and I watch it now and again, and I'm like, this is still actually pretty dang good.
And the video games were fun too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I had tons of fun with them, no matter
fun air quotes.
I enjoyed them.
Hang on.
Okay. Are you talking about the SNES game? Because
let's fix this. Let's fix this. The first one on the NES gets a hard pass to no, not whatsoever. However, the second and third ones are amazing. Just gonna say that.
Okay. I'll take that. And you think you're throwing it back with your number 3. I'm actually going way back to 1940 when this cartoon first showed up.
But you're not that old.
I'm not that old, but it was such a staple in my house, and it was the cartoon series that just kind of set me on my path for love of classical music and just a lot of like weirdly culturally finessed type things, and that
Looney
is
Tunes.
Bugs Bunny. Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Yes.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny was like one of my favorites growing up.
The best thing about Looney Tunes is, and I'm sure you've seen it, is the arc, the series, or I guess the years that they were doing with the World War, where they were basically using Looney Tunes as basically a soft form of propaganda.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! Like if you just go and watch that, because it's crazy what they did, and it's actually not too bad, but oh my gosh.
Well, there's like the musical ones where there's like the opera one and there's the Bugs as the director, which is still one of my favorites to this day, where he basically makes that poor opera singer just burst essentially out of his tux because he's holding this note so long.
I remember that one.
And it's such a good episode. Anyway, Looney Tunes is still one of my favorites, and I actually have a DVD of a lot of those musical ones that I bought when I started teaching, because I told myself I bought it because I was having the kids watch it as like an exposure type thing, but I really just wanted it for myself.
Well, and the great thing about Looney Tunes is how much of it ended up spawning like offshoots and everything, like Tiny Toon Adventures and such. Like that was such an influential cartoon for upcoming television and whatnot, and the reruns to this day are still like some of the best television out there, period. And like how they called stuff to begin with was also like ridiculous. But yeah, just so many different things that that they predicted that they did. To this day, still one of my favorite skits and whatnot is the Spear and Magic Helmet. That is still like one of my favorite things. Like the couple opera ones that they did were just great.
Daffy and Bugs.
Yeah, and then Tiny Toons had one where they did like an all well, and I know Jim Henson's like the Muppets, the Mini Muppets show did like a small did like a a homage to all the other cartoons that were out there for a while, as close to like the OKKO stuff as you can get for today. But they did like all of a sudden everybody's dressing up like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like the best ever.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, I'm letting myself jabber on here, but
It's
just to like express like how important like Looney Tunes is as like a function though to like how everything has kind of developed and changed. It didn't get on my list because I found it not as enjoyable as the other stuff I'm going to mention, but it's still just so important.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these shows that we're probably going to list off were important in one way, shape, or form. Which brings me to ask Blue what his number 2 is.
So my number 2 originally was going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but so fair enough that Beard got it. So in regards to that,
I'm actually last week.
Yep, I know. I'm a good sport about it. So I guess what I'll do is I'll shift it, and I'm actually going to say it's a toss-up between the old animated series of Dungeons and Dragons and Thundercats.
Thundercats is a good one.
Still have a Thundercats keychain.
Oh my god, Thundercats!
What was the name of Snarf? Oh my gosh, there's a place in town that is a restaurant called Snarf's, and I can't bring myself to go to it.
Never, ever, ever, never? Can we just not?
Snarf?
Stop!
Oh my gosh, yeah. He was the original
I refuse
Flapjack. All right. Beard, we'll go with your number 2 then.
My number 2, y'all actually know my number 1 if you heard from last week, which is kind of the ironic part. My number 2, however, you just sort of look up at a building and sometimes he's just hanging there. Anybody would know the tune.
Hunchback of Notre Dame? Oh, okay, Batman.
Batman the Animated Series.
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I mean, he's hanging from
seriously.
He said he's hanging from a building.
I mean, all of a sudden, all I'm thinking about is freaking Van Helsing, where he's in the movie fighting against Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where he's
God.
Mr. Hyde at that point.
You mean the Hulk?
For that one.
You mean the Hulk?
Yeah, basically the Hulk. I still love that movie for how stupid it is.
Yeah, it was horrible, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah. But it was one of those stupid horribles. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here.
That's okay.
So Batman the Animated Series ended up branching into several other series points from there. But one of the most special things for me about that series is that they actually took the ideas of Superman and Batman being pretty close together, and they ran with it. Like they wanted to make sure that it was all pretty well meshed. And that was, if memory serves, the one that started pretty much all of it. I have them all on DVD. There's 4 seasons of it, but then it branches into the Adventures of Batman and Robin, and then the mood kind of shifts again. And it gets a little bit more lighthearted, and then all of a sudden the Oracle episodes happen.
Oh God, it was a...
And I'm just,
Did they stay true to the comics on those? Because I don't think I saw.
I don't know. They didn't really show it, but they
didn't show Joker doing the thing.
No, here's how it went.
Yeah,
they did, but they didn't.
Okay.
The whole thing actually incorporated Scarecrow even more. So here's the whole thing that kind of blows the entire series out of the water versus like most of the other animateds that I will ever watch probably in my life. This starts a little bit of a story, so bear with me here for a second. We know how the movies kind of went. Batman 1 and 2, Batman the original 1984, and then Batman Returns, I would probably say are some of the best of the movies that are kind of out there.
Right.
At least in my opinion, I think those 2 are better than most of the others. Because then we end up getting into either Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. And both of those incorporate some stupidity beyond stupidity. There is such things as a Bat credit card And there are all the
They
jokes that
wanted it
just
to
went,
be campy with it, and they wanted to go back to the original TV show, and they went too far.
But this is exactly my point. Because Batman the Animated Series treated kids like adults more than those films ever will.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. The amount of adult-oriented themes that exist in Batman the Animated Series is insane. The absolute amount of either dark humor, dark representation, or dark circumstances that occur within that series are insane. And thus we get to something like the Joker, where, of course, he's basically as Mark Hamill, of course, because most of us know that's what he's famous for per this point, along with Luke Skywalker, but I will always now remember him more for the Joker because of this frickin' show. But when we get to the frickin' episodes with Barbara becoming Oracle, and you see the stuff that's going on with Scarecrow, you are reminded what somebody could do if they would make an R-rated Batman film that had Scarecrow in it.
Mm-hmm. And
It
actually
is
make Scarecrow scary.
right, which is actually one thing I'll give Gotham, the TV series, a little bit. They tried to do that, and I feel like they never went far enough with it, but they have potential. The fact that I can at least go back and see the Arkham games, however, and see what they have done with Scarecrow in the Arkham games, that gives you a hint of what kind of like level they were trying to skirt back with the animated series. Because a lot of what had happened with the animated series, those guys were still very much involved with the Arkham games. So that's why I've always had such high praise for them. But long story short, if you have never honestly watched Batman the Animated Series, it is probably one of the best cartoon series that you can get into, because again, it can kind of all branch into itself a little further. You then had spin-offs that happened, like Batman Beyond. Everybody thought that was going to kind of go places. It never, unfortunately, did much. It wasn't bad. I've actually liked the comics that they've done, which have actually been like a resurrection thereof. It's like one of those things where the original rendition in animation form didn't do well, but as soon as they had comics that they could go by, or like a world they could go by, now the comics are just flourishing, which is great to see. But then you also had Teen Titans that was born of this, the original Teen Titans, and talk about another show that was also built off of like dark theming and so on. They're working with frickin' Deathstroke, for God's sake. Like, they've got Deathstroke as the main villain, calling him Slade. He's going back and forth with Robin, which is I believe, or not. Yeah, it's goodness, I think it is Jason Todd, if I remember right.
I think
it's not
Jason.
supposed to be Dick Grayson.
No,
it's not Dick.
Because he goes on
up every now and again.
Yeah. Even though Teen Titans Go make the joke that he becomes Nightwing.
Yeah, which I'm still like, that's not right. Can we kiss and can and check here? Anyway. But yeah, like, and then of course we had Superman that also, of course, it spawned from that. We had Justice League that ended up popping up from that. DC had all the animated stuff on lock before Marvel even tried. Like, it wasn't even a contest with what was on television back out of the 90s. The way that DC had done everything, their animated films continue to stay as like some of the absolute, I still say, better of them versus what you'll find with like Marvel's animated films. Because I watched the origin story for frickin' Doctor Strange.
I was about to say
up on Netflix. I was like, that is just not as good as what they did with the MCU. So there's that part. I know that they're working within timelines and so on, but yeah. Black Flag also brings up the last one that I wanted to talk about, which was Static Shock. Because again, that was another thing that DC kind of pulled into thanks to Batman the Animated Series. Point in case, Batman the Animated Series basically made the 90s for me. That entire show spurned so many different offshoots, it's not even funny.
And this is your number 2?
This is my number 2. Yes. Like this should actually tell you something for the way that my number one is. And again, all of you actually know like what is my number one.
Or could guess.
Could guess, yes, because of what I had said like last
I know.
week already.
My Little Pony.
Yeah, you already know.
Or every week. There's almost like you always manage to put a reference of it in the show somehow.
See, but you're wrong. I already know what you're gonna say, and you're wrong.
It's not true.
That's not true.
Anyway, I will leave that be. I think you all kind of get the point. Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill will always be my Batman and Joker, within, of course, that respective order. But this show has much to do with that, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So my number 2 is another oldie because
Dude, there is nothing wrong with the old.
I don't know why you're trying to figure out how to apologize for that. I was about to say.
It's just it's funny because when I was growing up, you were talking about how when you were growing up, you didn't watch a lot of TV because you weren't allowed to. When I was growing up, we had 3 channels. So I didn't watch a lot of TV, and what I did watch was very restricted to what those 3 channels would be because we had bunny ears for a good part of my youth. And so my number 2 and 1 are both things that would come on at different points in the day, luckily. But my number 2 is one that would show up after school, and it was Scooby-Doo.
Oh!
Any iteration of Scooby-Doo. Like the newest iterations are weird. Let's just say that they've gotten more into like the I don't even like they've always done the ghost hunting thing, but now they're kind of doing a little bit more creepy ghost hunting. I don't know. It's just
Are they taking too much references from like, Ghost Hunters?
Yeah, I guess so. It's less of that really odd mystery solving and more actual ghost. Like the thing that was great about Scooby-Doo is that when you caught the bad guy, it wasn't a ghost, it was a guy in a mask.
Those darn
With it
kids!
too, if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
And that blasted puppy. Anyway, also Scrappy-Doo is the best, even if he was a jerk.
Uncle Scoob, we got him.
Uncle Scooby, I want to see Scrappy. Let me at him. Anyway.
Now let me at him. Let me at him.
Yeah, there's some good memories there, but
Yeah, no, that's
the newer ones are just weird. The movie was terrible.
Let's be honest here. Most new television is friggin' weird.
My wife and I were
way to
just
make
having
it.
this conversation. Like, there is
Yeah.
like no animation video like out there for kids that isn't like, I'm uncomfortable watching this. Like,
I don't know. There's like the little ones. Like there's a Neverland one that's
Oh
actually
yeah,
really
Jake
cute.
and the Neverland Pirates. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually
that one's
that's a
cute.
fair point actually. The toddler and younger have like perfectly normal animation. And then it's like, what in God's name did Ed, and Eddie get in control of the Cartoon Networks here?
I don't know.
Like-
There was also Ben 10, I think was the name of one of them. That one wasn't bad.
Ben 10 was pretty good. OKKO is also a fairly more recent one, but that's another pretty good one.
I'll have to look him up. Because the
You
ones that
also
are
have,
like,
well, of course, the ones that really picked up a lot of the slack were like, I know this is also tangential, but of course this kind of is what happens when we start talking about things that all link together.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got other stuff, of course, that also is semi-close together, like, Adventure Time and whatnot, Steven Universe, Adventure Time, etc., all fit into this similar realm, basically.
I didn't realize
in fact,
that.
many of them actually would make reference to each other as time would kind of go by within the shows. But Adventure Time is now off the air, as I believe is Steven Universe, and OKKO is actually picking up the slack on a couple of those mentions, which is kind of interesting.
What's weird is because I remember when Steven Universe came out, I was in college.
Right.
That's really weird to me.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, I am old, guys.
I know the feeling.
Uh-huh. Number 1's though, Blue.
Number 1 is another kind of a toss-up. They're pretty similar, but Transformers and Voltron.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like
you talk about
original
Voltron a
oh my god,
lot.
the redone. I need to catch up on the new Voltron because I'm behind actually a couple series or a couple seasons. But the original Transformers was also just like it was kind of like, you know, again, I agree completely with Beard's assessment of Batman the animated series, because I just like the way that those cartoons really didn't pull punches as far as like the viewers were concerned. Like they knew that the viewers were going to be a lot of their viewers were going to be kids, and they didn't really, I mean, they softened it a bit, but there was a lot of stuff that they kind of, I don't know, they kind of like helped guide a lot of the development and the conversations that as kids we had.
I think that's true of any of the great cartoons that we have on our list, though, because even we were talking earlier about Looney Tunes
that's
being a groundbreaker and doing propaganda and basically teaching kids essentially what was going on in the world as the adults were seeing it, but in a format that the kids could understand at least.
Yeah.
And Scooby-Doo really didn't do that, but
they taught us about stranger danger.
Sort of. They taught you to go and figure out if there's a problem and be good citizens.
They taught you that
and do things for
if your
free,
friends
that was
if your
what
friends
Scooby
were
did all the time.
really hungry all the time, there was probably something going on in the back of that old van.
I mean, Shaggy has got so many issues. Let's not talk about that one.
I'm trying to find redeeming qualities of this cartoon.
The thing is, okay, here's a spin foil theory.
Is that Scooby's not actually talking? It's all from Shaggy's
everybody
perspective.
Everybody else is just high, and they think he's talking.
I'm not entirely opposed to this theory.
The Scooby snacks. It's the Scooby snacks that did it. Anyway, number one for you, Peter. I'm gonna move on before I just go way too far.
Oh Lord, this is what I gotta follow.
Yeah, I know. I have to follow you, and I know what's coming up.
I mean, do you?
I think I do.
I'm telling you, it's My Little Pony.
Last week. It's not My Little Pony. I think you're gonna say Dragon Ball.
Nope.
You're not gonna do it?
I'm not gonna say Dragon Ball. I'm gonna do something different. I had made a reference to it last week. So again, many of you or some of you that were paying attention might already pick up on it.
Hey.
Does not. And that's fine. She doesn't have to pick up on it. I'm still gonna drive it home, of course. Anyway, I should stop beating around the bush here. So many of you may know references from this one. There were songs that definitely happened thanks to this one. You started to learn.
Animaniacs. Got it. Yeah. I was like, I know you.
God, you want to talk about
influential? I pay attention.
We'll talk about an influential cartoon.
Influential shows.
Oh my god.
Pinky in the Brain.
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid. Yeah, I was going to say.
Freakazoid was amazing.
The amount of different things that Animaniacs basically allowed is like a platform. If Batman was the spawn of many of those different shows that had occurred and kind of gave rise to them, the Animaniacs was the opposite of that in some cases, where they had effectively allowed for the platform to be opened up to many different developers. It was the thing that allowed for so many different ideas to conform. And that was the thing that absolutely blows me away about Animaniacs to this day. Not the fact that it is anyway like related to Steven Spielberg.
Which is also amazing, by the way.
It is also amazing, yes.
I don't want us to gloss over that. There is something related to Spielberg that is...
Right. But, like, here's the whole entire point of, like, what that show is about. The yucks, the comedy, and everything else that are basically behind it, to me, almost make, like, not a ton of sense considering who it is that's like supposedly at the head of all of it. And of course, that is Steven Spielberg. He is, of course, not necessarily known for writing stuff like that or even close to it. But of course, having directed hand into how it is versus like development hand, of course, should showcase that there is some difference in how it all is sort of put together. But again, like where the ideas had spawned for Batman the Animated Series to allow for those linked series to happen, you of course had the same thing sort of happen with Animaniacs, but it was more like, here's a skit, how are people going to care about this? And of course it evolved into something larger. And as soon as the Animaniacs themselves were pulled away, then you ended up having all the other shows that were still kind of there. Which was the thing I think that should showcase the testament of time. It was kind of like Saturday Night Live for kids in a way.
Yeah, it really
where
was.
they would have so many different skits that were going on, and then you would also have all these different timelines that were happening too. But I don't know, I always just love what the Animaniacs were about, the humor that was in there, the fact that they were actually able to, of course, communicate to kids too about ways for learning and so on. It really makes a big difference in terms of like how you grow up, and of course the ones that you're watching are now the ones that are helping you to understand a little bit more about your world and like what's going on in it, even if it's just a real mannerism as a cartoon character telling you what's going on.
So true.
It
So
also
true.
displays the fact that Spielberg does a really good job when someone else writes for him.
Yeah.
What? Empire
Yeah.
Strikes Back? What?
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 Who? Huh?
Who? Huh?
Oh man. Okay.
Green, what's your number one?
It was going to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because that was my every Saturday morning cartoon. Every Saturday morning. And my mom.
I mean, that I do like the fact that all three of us are agreed on this
yes.
one.
TMNT was amazing, and gosh, the thing that my mom will talk about the most when we like reminisce, because holiday times, parents want to embarrass you. My mom would talk about how I was a very odd child when it came to the things I chose to watch. On Saturday mornings,
I would have never known.
Saturday morning, I would watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then the weird one was I would watch people fish, because they would, on one of those 3 channels, they would have fisherman tournaments, and I would watch fishing.
I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of an odd combo.
Yeah, I know. I'm a weird duck. I'm okay with this fact, but
I mean, they're kind of linked. They're kind of
not
linked.
really. I mean, aquatic, I guess, but I don't watch fishing anymore. I think it was just soothing, and I like water, and that's about as close as I can get to justifying it. But my number one is actually a different show I'd watch in the mornings before I had to get on the school bus, because I grew up out in the country and had to get on the bus fairly early to get to school. And there were 2 shows that would show back to back. One was the Andy Griffith Show, and the other one, which is my number one now instead, and I've seen every episode multiple times, and I've even considered buying it.
Sailor Moon.
No, that was after
Dragon
school.
Ball.
No.
Oh.
It's another like live action one, and it's about in the same vein as Andy Griffith's show.
Thunderbirds?
And then it had a very Thunderbirds. Gilligan's Island.
Okay.
It's a weird one, but it was something that I always found comforting because of the shenanigans. Gilligan's Island was the Scooby-Doo of live action.
Oh yeah.
In some respects, because they had some of the craziest shit happen.
Between that one and friggin' I Love Lucy, that was pretty much what my mom subjected me to watching.
Right.
And I learned to love it, but
right, like the episode that comes to mind that it's still just kind of hilariously stupid is the one where they get the government genetically modified seeds.
Right.
And they plant a garden, and each of them have like a favorite vegetable or whatever, and they eat the vegetable and they get the superpowers from the vegetable. So Gilligan loves carrots, so you can see for miles and miles away. One of the girls gets super strong. It's just ridiculous and silly,
Mhm.
and it was childhood for so many years because waiting on the bus was always painful. But that concludes our top 3 this week. And that was quite a bit more dynamic than I thought it was going to be.
Well, you know.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You know what we're going to do next week? Or I guess
Do I
2
wanna
weeks from
know?
now? Or 3 weeks from now? Schedules are weird right now.
Mm-hmm.
What's
We're
a
gonna-
end of
schedule?
year.
I don't know about schedules.
Look, YouTuber.
Yeah. No
Exactly.
Which channel are we on again?
Hell if I know.
I love how he's just completely embraced it at this point. He's like, I don't even know anymore.
I'm actually going to do a Dawning themed top 3.
Oh no.
We're gonna
I swear
do
to God, if it's how many cookies have you made, I might just
no.
lose my
It's
mind.
gonna be
win.
top 3 favorite cookies for us because we're having to
Alright.
make all these cookies.
like actual cookies.
Yeah, literal cookies for us, like our top 3 favorite cookies.
I was gonna
That's
say,
fair.
calm down, Grandma Levante.
Hey now. I like everybody to have a happy holiday as well.
So
But
calm down, Grandma Levante.
I love how he's like, that kind of confirms what I just said.
listen,
Green,
you.
take us out.
Listen,
before I get
Thank you for joining us, top 3. Remember, you can always shoot us a topic. Please do so. I'm starting to whittle down on the list a little bit. We're getting to the end of it. Let me know what you want us to talk about. And remember, everybody loves a list. Wow, we got really tangential this time.
Oh my God,
I mean,
fighting
I kind of
Panoptes while
expected it.
doing that was not easy.
This is why I go and just like farm Vex for Vex. Was it Vex milk?
I'm trying to dodge this boss fight with one hand, waiting for you to hit the hit the exit. I'm like, oh God, hurry up! Say it faster.
I've just been playing around in, Tangled Shore.
Oh, I know who Sweet Love Plays is now.
Yeah.
Okay.
She said.
I always forget what her Twitter handle / Twitch handle is. All right. Liz, it's coming up just soon enough, as soon as Blue is done with Panoptes and
Well,
we
I
start
died,
the regular
so
show.
hang on. Give me a
Okay.
second.
I don't know. Can we not?
I did it for the question of the week.
She
But
did it
can
for the
we not?
lulz.
I did it for the lulz as
I
well
know
as
you
just
did
to
it for
get,
the lulz, but
as-
just to get under my skin and just to make me outraged.
I did
But can we
not
just
tag
not?
you in it. I did not push it anywhere near
But
you.
you don't
I was
need to
considerate
tag
of
me
your
in it. We know this is gonna happen. Like, why is this even a question?
That's why that is an answer you could choose. Why, Bungie? Why? I thought of you.
I thought of you.
Thank you, because that's the one I selected.
Oh shit.
Pardon me, I need to get multi-kills with this sniper rifle.
Okay. I am going to, when Beard gets riled up, it's a good time. I'm going to go grab some more coffee while you guys are.
Yep. I should be done
No,
by the time you
I
get back on
don't.
it with coffee.
I don't like to get riled up because that usually means my throat's gonna hurt in the morning, okay? And not like that. Stop it, Cole. Yes, we know who you are, Liz. Some of us would like not to know who you are.
Ow!
That's only like half true. Creator of Beard's Nightmares. Now that is accurate. Boom!
Oh God!
Messing around with Trinity.
Oh God!
Don't think it's counting towards my kills.
What's going down
No,
towards your?
It
Huh?
did.
What?
I've been messing around with Trinity Ghoul out here, and I don't think it's been tallying towards my kills, but it actually does look like it has been.
I love using. Okay, so I love being that kind of trolley person in Crucible, depending
You
if we're
trolley never.
sometimes, just sometimes. But
sometimes she says,
shh, I don't know. Doesn't hurt them. I'll run a bow, depending on what everybody else is running. If everybody else is running like super in-your-face aggressive stuff, I'll run a bow and run behind them and just. Dink,
Wait, you mean that's the trolley path? That's like what I always do.
No, that's because you and I think alike.
That's also a true statement. So, anyways, I'm like, why would I want to get up in their face? Everyone else is doing that.
It's bad enough that Julie calls you my work husband, which is weird in so many ways.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
Oh my God, proxy thing, die.
Are we ready? Are you guys killing things?
I'm nearly done with the stupid boss fight.
Let me kill this. Okay.
Aha!
It's dead.
Boss fight. Come on, come on, come on. Osiris, hurry up.
Hi, chat.
The two new bows. There's new bows.
I know what Wicked's working on, Cole. Which one are you working on? The next week's Bad Destiny joke? Hi, Icicle. Yay. Is it the one? Okay, which one of the two? I know what you have planned for the next couple insider information, but which one are you doing next week? Fingers crossed. For what? What are you finger crossing for?
Oh, you know.
Goodness.
That was a shit shot.
Oh, it's the flan one. Okay. Yay. Everybody loves flan. The Dawning lore is weirdly entertaining. I actually really find the Dawning lore kind of adorable, except for the one with Hideo getting punched in the face. That one's just funny.
I find that adorable too.
I find that entirely adorable.
You guys have a very weird meaning of adorable.
No, well, I just like Hideo getting punched in the face.
some things just may. All right. There are some Christmas gifts that I don't know that I need.
Can we hold up. I have an executive question, a possible executive decision. Instead of doing, I know you've probably already started the poll for this week, but can we do the Dawning lore?
Yeah, it's on there.
Right after Christmas.
Oh,
people go vote for Dawning lore. Go vote for it.
The Dawning lore book is on there, so
okay.
I put all the lore books that are listed on Ishtar are on there.
Okay.
That we haven't already covered.
Nobody liked my executive decision joke. That's all right.
I didn't even hear it. I'm sorry. What did you say?
You said I'm going to make an executive decision, and I'm over here going, "Ha! Executive, get it? Get it?"
New monarchy joke. You so clever.
Even though it's executor, but whatever.
It's close enough.
Look at you making clever puns.
But yeah, I know it's like what I do.
No, you don't.
What?
What?
Jeepers creepers! And I
leave the jokes to me, Beard. Even Cole's calling you out. Oh shit!
Fine.
Why
I don't
is
love any of you anymore?
I don't love any of you anymore.
Y'all are getting coal for Christmas.
It's okay, as long as I get a hug for Guardian Con, I don't care.
Yeah, all right. I guess that's pretty far down the line.
Yeah, I'll get back in your good graces by
I was
then.
about to say, you
Sure.
probably will redeem yourself before then.
Yeah, the next time you two fight, it'll be easy enough to pick up the pieces.
Cole, you're all getting me for Christmas.
Yay!
Wait, is that supposed to be a punishment?
That,
No.
I don't know how I should take that, actually.
I mean, I know how I'm taking it, but I don't know if that means that it's okay. Anyways, moving on.
I'm just gonna keep shooting things and act like nothing's going on.
When Cole's in chat, things get a little weird.
Oh, just a little bit?
You know what's funny though is like people who don't actually hang out in Cole's chat or know Cole very well would not understand why that could be weird because it doesn't sound like it would be weird right away.
No, but as soon as you start to know Cole, you start
Pence
to know
is
that
yelling at
everything
us.
is an innuendo.
Yeah, half that's my
Yeah.
fault. I was trying to kill Panoptes. Okay, there we go. Do.
A little
my
weird is me
God.
being
All the freaking triumphs.
well. Pens, you like hanging out in our chat whenever Lux is streaming. Love you too, Cole.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Turning game off so not distracted. Let's see. Whoa, what was that?
Yeah, sorry. I always forget that my computer decides to make like really weird sounds when I turn on and off monitors.
Ah. No. Okay, Liz. You gotta breathe, honey. You gotta breathe. I don't think I've ever been stunned to silence as much as when I'm hanging in chat with me, Lux, and Cole. I mean,
Liz
it's
still
practically a sex ed chat at that point.
Okay.
You put
Beer-
what where?
Well, let's not go there. Not tonight.
This is not FFC After Dark.
Nope.
Yeah.
We haven't started the show. So much, there is so much talk about that, and Automod blocked it, Cole.
Truth to Power book. I was planning. has it not all been released in game at this point?
No. We only have 3 cards, maybe 4 cards.
Oh.
They're trickling out every time the Queen, almost every time the Queen visits.
So it's not been consistent because it should have. I was about to say, going off of what I understood about it, it should be already all out.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Shows you how much I pay attention to that particular aspect of it.
This is actually something that we were talking about a little bit in the group DM on Twitter, the one that you jumped out of.
Mm-hmm. Because it turned into a bitch fest. What?
Yeah, it still is that every once in a while. I tend to just ignore him, but there's a couple of books that we're not diving into as a courtesy that we have access to. Truth to Power is one of them, and there was another one that Anon was talking about the other day that he brought up to Bife, and Bife was just like, I'm not touching it since I had my Truth to Power blow up thing.
Yeah, the books right now are pretty well are the Black Armory papers. That's what we were talking about.
Was, Black Armor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because for some
I put
reason,
both of those on there because I saw them on Ishtar. I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're on there, but whatever.
Well, the Black Armory papers I don't think are officially released yet.
Yes.
At least on Ishtar. I know that there are links that are available to all of them, and
Well,
they're not marked
I
for
think they're on
spoilers.
Ishtar.
Yeah, they're Ishtar.
I know
we can't get
they're
them
on
in
Ishtar, and you can get to the book via a link of one of the book entries. but when I do a search for book, like I usually do for all the others, I still don't see it.
I did, and I didn't have any problem.
We just can't get any of the papers in game yet, or at least not much of the papers in game, which is why Bife is not jumping on to that yet.
Yeah.
Because there's so much else to talk about already still.
Right.
And that
I'm gonna
he's
say how
being
many
cautious.
New things did we get? Yeah, and he has absolute right to be after, of course, what had happened with Truth to Power. Granted, he has total right to be after what had happened in Matt with frickin' the hard mode raid, and all of a sudden they changed it from like what was going on.
Oh,
with, that Fallen and the Fallen, and ended up switching to something completely different.
Right.
Yeah, because if you go to books, ishtarcollective.net/books, Black Armory papers are there. Truth to Power is there. Now, currently, Truth to Power only has 3, which is fine.
That's proper.
Baxter is releasing those as they are becoming available in game.
Right, but the Black Armory has all of them.
Dino thinks they're possibly bugged or just super, super rare, is what he's saying in chat. He says they're available, and I haven't seen
anyone, but they keep saying, like, it keeps popping up whenever I log in. It's like, hey, go do this, go do forges. I'm like, no. But then they're like, to get pages, when you're 540, they're kind of bad.
Right, that's true. I forget that you're still grinding up there.
But,
okay, are you guys ready?
Yeah,
should we get the Mara thing going?
I don't wanna.
It's not that bad. I did all the notes for you.
I don't wanna.
Oh, we'll get it. It's like a Band-Aid. We'll rip it off at first, then we won't have to talk about it the rest of the time.
There's so many different
I don't even
ways.
put it.
There's so many different ways you could go with that statement.
FFC
You're welcome.
After dark. The thing is, Blue, you're the one who tends to not make those references, and then when you do this, it's like...
Whoa! What? Oh my gosh! Why is?
It's just like, why Cole? Damn. Everybody's just stunned. All right. Oh, goodness. Pens. At least you didn't face desk.
He's getting there.
And we haven't mentioned that he who shall not be named.
No, we did last week.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, the week before.
It was too, well...
And I had to stop Blue very quickly.
Yeah, he was the one who brought it up.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It works.
Yeah. Not Nezarek.
Bife's like, don't use the N-word. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's...
we jumped to a whole different...
Rewind?
I was like, that's a whole different level. Where...
I mean, look, Bife, I know you hang out on that side of the pond, but I didn't know you hang out with PewDiePie. Hey-o!
Oh, man.
Went there.
You did.
Oh, my gosh.
How many other ways to Sunday can I bring up the idea of YouTube Rewind and how terrible it was? Oh, wait. Pretty much the whole show.
Pretty much.
All right. And... good to go on that. All right, ready?
Oh.
What's up?
Yep. Ready.
Today's chat is brought to you by, well, all of your support. Through the patronage you provide the Focus Fire chat team through Podbean's crowdfunding, we are able to provide you with the weekly podcast as well as the website and other aspects of Focus Fire chat. If you have any interest in becoming a patron of the FFC, please be sure to visit our website and click on the support link. Even a single dollar helps, and for those of you who are already patrons, thank you again for your generosity. You may have heard the whispers of guardians gathering in the shadows, exploring the mysteries of this world and the worlds which surround us. We are all in search of truth. Sometimes we need to focus that search, focus that fire. And so we come together. Join us. Join the discussion. Welcome to Focused Fire Chat. Welcome back for episode 152 of Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on December 14th over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Our topic for tonight's episode is going to be a look at the updated information pertaining to Mara Sov. But first, let's run through a quick introduction of those on the show for tonight. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86. Next up, we have our own master of social media, the one and only Green-Eyed Music Lover. Green, I hope you're doing well. How has the week treated you so far?
I've been baking cookies and have been told that Julie could actually maybe play the game because of the baking mechanic in it right now, because it reminds her of Stardew Valley. Earlier, I mentioned that I had to take a cookie to Amanda Holiday, and she's like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm digging it. Can I play? I'm like, all right. Might actually get my wife to play Destiny for once.
For the season, and then she'll stop.
Yeah.
Because there's no more cookies.
Yeah, basically. She wants that role-playing aspect, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame her.
She wants what I've been talking about for a while now, which is a crafting mechanic, which we've desperately needed within Destiny.
A reason to play.
Would you stop?
Hey, I'll be fair. I told Green
just fine.
I told Green earlier today. I was like, man, this dawning has actually gotten me back into Destiny 2. Like, It's
a good event.
The thing that I like about it is, again, it's something that doesn't force you to have to go through a certain, like, you don't have to be high light level. You don't have to be in Crucible. You don't have to win certain, like, it's just, hey, go out and do what you want to do. And as you go through stuff, collect stuff. You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, hey, instead of having to go to Soraya every freaking day to get your clan experience, why don't you just let us gather stuff as we're doing what we're doing anyways? Like, I might have an opinion about that. But rounding out the usual team. Yeah, what? No. We have our good buddy, the lore content cop himself, Beard Grizzly. Beard, how have you been doing?
What day is it?
Mm-hmm. I know. Yep, right there with you.
It's holiday. It's holiday.
As long as we're all kind of on the same page. I am surprised at myself that I am even here, quite frankly. It has been a week. It has been a time, and I am glad to be here and just, fidge out for a little while. I've been attempting my best to actually catch up and read all of the new stuff that we have, most of which is not released in my time of not being able to either create content or otherwise right now. And it's been rough. I'm definitely looking forward to the season being over. I think this is one of those times. This year in particular has been incredibly tough for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just felt different from the rest of them. So, if anybody else is out there suffering like I am, for some reason,
this week's been a rough one for us as well.
Yeah. So if you feel like it was just you, it's probably not just you.
Yeah.
But anyway, before I drag that on anymore and make people depressed for sitting here listening to the show, going, this is all that life has to offer now.
It's even in Destiny.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
Well, to kind of go on, I don't even know how to to segue out of that depressing topic into the more depressing topic of the community question.
How about just rip and tear?
Rip and tear.
Yeah.
Rip and tear.
All
Green,
right.
go.
Community feedback. Okay, so I did the thing.
I don't wanna.
I did the thing. I did the thing that made Beard
I don't wanna.
Beard crazy always.
Stop
And
it.
I waited. I waited until Thursday to post it.
Yeah, you did. Which
I
just
did.
made the anticipation even worse.
Why? I only made it a 24-hour thing. It wasn't even that long.
Because I knew what you were gonna do anyway.
Okay, I may be. Yeah, I'm a bit of a troll sometimes, but
Just sometimes.
partially as a favor to one of our community members who is quite adamant, and she's shown up on
She's
a
quite
few
adamant?
different.
Just quite adamant. She says,
she's-
"Okay."
She's messaged me pretty much daily for the last 3 weeks. Beard, I think I know where you're at.
Just you daily. Okay, sure. Yeah, because I haven't been dealing with this for the last, I don't know, year.
Beard. Take a bite of your cookie and sit down. He's okay. But the
Just
community
gonna sip
question
my water
this
and
week
move
was
on.
we see the new lore that Shax is smitten with the queen being Mara. And my question was do you think this is folly on his part?
There's only one right option out of all three of them that you selected.
I made 3 options, which if you add the 2 together that are basically the same answer, it's actually a tighter race than I thought it would be. So the 3 answers you could choose from were yes, it's folly, no, it's not folly, and then why, Bungie? Why?
If anybody could guess which one I fell into, you're probably right.
Yeah, because I basically channeled my inner Beard. May put on a beard to type out that last one. But
Doubt it.
no, I didn't. I totally didn't. But 28% said
anyway.
yes, it's folly. 24% said why, Bungie, why? Which, adding that up, we get to 52%. And then 48% said it's not folly on his part, which actually looks like it's the winner of this poll because there's 3 options, but because it's a terrible poll. But I'm just shocked. I was still shocked at how many people was like, yeah, I could see it. I could totally see it. I'm like, what? Why? And people were like, I mean, we're all smitten with Mara, or
no, we're not. No, we're definitely not.
I like Mara.
All is a very gross overstatement because there is at least one person that is not.
All right. But a lot of people think that Shax is going to get his heart crushed, and they think it's going to happen around the.
All I
days.
see now is Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom right here.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to that meme where it's like, I gave you my heart and said Kali Ma, and then you burst into flames.
Oh, whoa. Wow.
Anyway.
Oh, man.
I totally see it.
Yeah. If those of you who don't know, we talked about the Shax and Mara card, which is the Mark of the Great Hunt, which for God knows what reason I actually have the name of that card memorized. I don't
probably because it's such a traumatic thing.
It's probably
as you can't tell also, from Beard.
Oh my God. So that one dropped a couple of weeks ago. Dropped with the raid. And then we get this Dawning card where an unnamed figure.
Okay, but the Dawning card is adorable. I do have to give him that.
It's cute. It's basically Shax saddling up next to Eva, trying to figure out what to get Mara for Christmas or for the Dawning. And It's like, oh my god, he's just like every guy trying to figure out what to get a girlfriend.
It's so like I do not have a problem with the Mark of the Great Hunt. I'm like, why? Like it doesn't further any like whatever. But like the Dawning card, it shows like a human side of Shaxx, right? Like that's the thing is like I really like it is because it humanizes him. It shows him that he's not like all like bluster and all that. There are things that he gets kind of like, I don't know if this is like I love
right. It. Yeah. It is it's really cute. It's just one of those things that's perpetuating the problem at this point too.
What?
Perpetuating the problem is an understatement.
Anyway. It has spurred quite a few artists to start drawing those two together again.
If you can't tell, I've got several opinions about this, and I want it to stop!
Okay, that is all that I promised that we would get it over with. It's over with. We can move on to the intro. It'll be fine.
Real quick, real quick, I did want to also give a preliminary shout out to Gamma Trap and Mylan. Gamma Trap actually, so Mylan has a Patreon in which, kind of similar to Bife, has a Patreon to help support the artists that give him the images to use in his videos and stuff like that. And as part of that Patreon, we are given access to some of Gamma Trap's amazing artwork. And that's actually where we got this week's banner from. Was I took an image from Gamma Trap that he had provided, I think, a couple months back. And I combined it with a couple other images and blended it. So if you guys really like the banner, be sure to give Gamma Trap and Mylan a big thank you for just being amazing contributors to the Destiny community. The Gamma Trap's artwork is, I mean, it's seriously one of my favorite styles. But I did want to give a quick shout to both of them and a big thank you for letting us use that, because this is actually the perfect image for this episode. But speaking about this episode, let's go ahead and run through our intro notes real quick.
In our last episode of Focus Fire Chat, we discussed the Fallout series. If you ever miss an episode and would like to catch up, please be sure to check out FocusFireChat.com for archives, articles, and links to the other aspects of Focus Fire Chat. If you don't mind, please rate, and if you can, review the show on iTunes, Podbean, or whichever podcasting app you use to enjoy podcasts. Reviews are extremely helpful, as they not only let us know what we can do better, but help us stay up on the charts, which helps others find our amazing community. To those of you who have already taken the time to leave us a review, thank you. As many of you already know, Focus Fire Chat is a cross-community gathering where the intent is to offer a week-long, in-depth view of a particular subject from within the lore of Destiny and other games. This chat begins every Tuesday morning and runs until the following Tuesday, with topics decided by the group via a poll that begins every Friday and ends on the Tuesday morning of the new chat. Every Friday around 10 p.m. Central, we get together to stream a high-level summary of the previous week's chat for those who are unable to participate. Please be sure to also give some support to the other podcasts in the Guardian Radio Network, links of which can be found on our website. If you're a fan of lore in all of its various forms, be sure to also check out thelorenetwork.com, where you can find a wide variety of some amazing content covering a number of different titles and mediums. Note that next week we are going to be off the air due to the upcoming holiday, but rest assured, I have something in the works that will take the place of the normal episode. However, please be sure to weigh in on the poll this weekend to let us know which topic you want to discuss after that. Links to that poll can be found on either Twitter @FocusFireChat or within our Discord server. With that being said, here's my high-level summary of tonight's topic. Have faith in the plan. Trust in the plan. What is this blasted plan that Petra continually talks about? This grand design that Mara, with the help of Eris and Osiris, don't forget him, devised to take down orcs, and what, now more? Luckily, Forsaken gave us a bunch of the pieces of this puzzle, so we can begin shaping this grand design of Mara's and figuring out what she's got planned. So buckle up, Buttercup, because we are diving deep into the lore this week with our update of Mara Sov. Before we jump into the information and thoughts that the community had about Mara Sov, however, let's have a quick chat about this week's Lost Lore.
All right, so this weekend...
Before we get going...
Yes.
I think I need an adult after that intro.
I'm done.
Carry on!
I need an adult. Man.
I need an adult?
I am an adult.
I am an adult.
Oh my.
I just wanted, real quick, thank you for Green for doing that. My week has been a bit full, and so Green stepped up and took care of the intro notes for us, and I really appreciate it. Actually, Green pretty much took care of this episode for us, and I'm really grateful for that. But she did task me with the Lost Lore section. She wanted me to talk about a little bit about ascension, or the concept of ascension, and how, like, what it is and how it ties into what is going on in Destiny, because ascension is actually a concept that is in reality as well as in the video game, and so
Get
really,
your queen's foil, kids.
Yeah, pretty much. So the concept of ascension in reality is really, you can kind of define the concept of the quote, the act of rising to an important position or a higher level, end quote. And it's something that is prevalent throughout not just society today, but historically. You can see it in religious, mythological, and especially cultural or social development throughout the growth of humanity, not to mention other forms of intelligent life, and even to a degree within the more animalistic lives of our planet. So in many ways, this is a gross oversimplification of the concept that can be baked within the idea of a pecking order or a hierarchy that determines not just where one stands physically within a social framework, but also what that standing allows. Overt examples of this concept can be seen in pack mentalities of many predatorial creatures, such as lions, wolves, dogs, etc., as well as even in the herd mentalities of prey, such as horses or bovines, and that nature. As it is to be expected, humanity has built upon the more base degree of hierarchical standing in social terms, and has incorporated this concept into their mythologies and religions to explain a host of issues and experiences. Indeed, it should be noted that the word itself was actually coined in about 1518 from the Middle English language to refer to the ascent of Christ via the Old French term from Latin ascension, from the verb ascendiere. From the very inception of the term, it has been crafted to explain something mysterious within the context of religion, which is where we get the strong connections that we see today with the idea. Note, of course, that this term is by no means restricted to the Christian religion. It was quickly adopted to describe more mundane concepts, such as an individual's ascension to the throne, for example. We even see a use of it in astrology, where the term ascendant is defined as, quote, the zodiacal sign and degree that is ascending on the eastern horizon at the specific time and location of an event. According to astrological theory, celestial phenomena reflect or determine human activity as the principle of as above, so below. Thus, astrologers believe that the ascendant signifies a person's awakening consciousness in the same way that the sun's appearance on the eastern horizon signifies the dawn of a new day, end quote. So transitioning all that into Destiny, we do actually see a number of similarities to our own concept of ascension, especially in the way that the Hive used the term. Because within the Hive, The concept of ascension, or ascendant beings as it were, is similar to that of the evolution from a mortal to a pseudo-immortal creature. It is linked closely with their view and usage of the plane of existence known in-game as the ascendant realm. And this is quite literally a realm of existence that's juxtaposed above the material realm. So it's a place where instead of material cause physics or material causal physics is the determining factor, the literal will of the being observing it can shape it to their desires. Thus, the more powerful the will, the more control one is able to exert, though there does seem to be a level of which the, quote, owner of the individual throne rooms is able to exert over visitors. Example of this is really Crota's End. And I'm going to kind of circle back to that in just a second. A throne world is described by the worm gods to the servants as, quote, a cyst universe created by your own might, end quote. So it's a literal safe haven for the life force of the individual entity which creates it. It is the creation of the cyst. A cyst is defined to be a tough protective capsule enclosing the larva of a parasitic worm or the resting stage of an organism that is not a normal part of the tissue where it is located. It has a distinct membrane and is separated from nearby tissue. So that's a cyst. It is the creation of this cyst that allows the ascendant hive the ability to cheat death. For as long as they are not slain within their unique throne world, they are able to retreat back and remerge again and again. This is why, in the often fanatical following of the logic of the sword, they view the event of death as a teaching moment rather than a terminal point for existence, as most mortal creatures would. So to go back into the reference to Crota's End here, that is the entire explanation of what is going on with that final fight against Crota during that raid. That was the Dark Below raid, so I'm assuming most people who are aware of what that was going on. But if you didn't play Destiny 1, it was basically the fight against Crota, and it was interesting, to say the least. There were sword bearers and lots of network switching and all that fun stuff. But
as far as how to beat it,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, obviously it was very difficult. You had to unplug your network at just the right time to get Crota. Wait,
you had to just have a hunter who knew how to run sword.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much. Yeah,
and have rocket launchers.
Oh, lots of rocket launchers. But so no, but I mean, and you'll hear Bife refers to this as the psychomutable netherverse, which if you take the breakdown of that term, is exactly what this ascendant plane is. Psychomutable literally means it's changeable by your psychic, your psychos. So your will is what's changing it, and then another verse is it's a universe that's not ours. So a psychomutable netherverse is a universe in which the will is actually the driving force of creation, not physics or not causal physics. So you almost have a degree of paracausality within these throne worlds. And if you look at the fight within Crota's End, and even to a degree within the Taken King against Oryx himself, the fight is really honestly an argument. It is a debate between the attackers and the defender, and it's whoever has the strongest will that walks away, which actually is a callback to the raid ship from the Taken King, which I just blanked on the name of it, but it's basically named after a public debate in which you actually are the winner will walk away and the loser loses face, which is what we did in Oryx's experience. But and so that's really kind of putting into Destiny terms the concept of ascension. Now we do see it quite often in the Dreaming City within Destiny 2. And I think that will be a good place to let Green kind of step in a little bit there and kind of talk about that.
So, okay. The way that I wanted to break down this whole thing with the ascension and everything like that is the concept that Mara is essentially in some ways ascended at this point. Mm-hmm. And how we get there and the plan, the stupid plan that is mentioned so many stinking times in game. So Mara Sov, I'm going to do a quick description of Mara Sov as of the end of D1. For people who may not have played D1, just bear with me. Mara Sov is the Queen of the Reef who ascended to power sometime right before the Reef Wars. We meet her during the initial Black Garden questline, asking for assistance in locating the Black Garden. Instead of helping us directly, she places a task in front of us: kill a Gate Lord and bring me its eye. We accomplish this task and gain access to the Black Garden, much to the ire of Prince Uldren. The second major encounter we have with her is in regards to the wolves going rogue, and the wolves being the fallen house that was kind of encompassed within Mara's grouping at that point. So the wolves go rogue, and Skolas escapes, and then we don't actually visit or see Mara during any of the House of Wolves expansion, but we do hear her at the very end when we capture Skolas. Most of our interaction is through proxy with Petra Benj, who at the very beginning, well, right before House of Wolves, in the very beginning of House of Wolves, is actually a emissary to the tower. So she comes into the tower. She's dressed up in the Corsair garb that if you are roaming the Dreaming City now and you happen to walk by one and they start talking at you and startle you, and you turn and see what they're dressed like, that's actually what Petra looked like before we met her in the actual reef. And I'm trying to remember the name of the place.
The Vestian Outpost.
Thank you, Vestian Outpost.
Yeah, if you go through the Dreaming City and you're not startled by those freaking Corsairs at one point or another, even if you just like burst spawn in or something, you're lying to me incredibly. There is, oh my god, just
it's so funny.
Has anyone noticed?
Hey, Guardian,
has anyone noticed that they've started putting them like crouched in the tall grass?
Yes.
Yeah.
I found one today, and I literally was like, ah! I accidentally hit him with the sparrow.
I love that. I love it. I love that we have like these NPCs to talk to.
Oh no, I absolutely.
It's so great.
It's such an ingenious way of getting us access to patrols in the Dreaming City, because and we kind of mentioned this, like we don't have the patrol beacons, so
we wouldn't have the patrol beacons.
We of course we are helping the Corsairs because that's what the Corsairs do, is they do patrols. I love it. It's an ingenious way of doing it, and then also, making them dynamic on top of that. Oh my gosh.
Also hearing a certain somebody scream every time she walks by and curse. It's flipping hilarious.
I do like also how their dialogue is different.
Yes, it does change.
Awoken or for just human or exos.
Mm-hmm. So going back to Mara, the last major encounter we have with her, which is not really an encounter, it's a cutscene, is the opening of Taken King. And we witness Mara and her fleet attacking the dreadnought and then essentially getting demolished by the power weapon. Which, is there a name for that weapon? I never came across a name of it. It's just Oryx's weapon.
I think it's just a dreadnought in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it was more of him. It was him exerting his will. So yeah, it's like a psychic blast of some kind.
Yeah. He's pushing this throne world out.
Yeah,
right?
it's basically what he's doing. I mean, kind of. Yeah, he's like if I remember, this is me trying to remember off the top of my head. If I remember, it's caused by it's caused by the ontological friction of the way that he created his throne world inside the dreadnought, and then. Like, so all that stuff is then channeled through Willbreaker, and that's that's why when he fires it, he has to insert Willbreaker into the plate or whatever.
Which Willbreaker is the sword,
correct?
For those people who don't know.
Sorry, yes.
But yeah, So that's
yeah, okay, sorry.
of,
Dino in chat just answered it. Quote is, royalty knows its own. When Oryx destroyed Mara's Ketch, he used his crowning weapon, the last and surest argument for his omnipotence. He extended the pocket universe of his throne world into our cosmos, and with it he destroyed his foes. Whatever fell within it became a subject of his will. He was the taken king, and he took. It was a death befitting a queen, end quote.
So that's kind of the wrap-up of Mara and where we were left at the end of day 1, which was everybody searching for her, Aldrin included. Petra became acting regent at that point. Petra's arc happens very quickly in game. She was the emissary before House of Wolves, and then as soon as House of Wolves drop, she goes from emissary to Queen's Wrath. And then after the death of the Queen and taking King, has been pushed into acting regent. And that is kind of where I really want to start digging into the newer lore, because we have quite a bit to go through. So I'm going to go back, way back into the creation of the Dreaming City, which actually happens quite a bit before the Taken King. And guys, jump in whenever you want to, because this is just me rambling and writing this down. So people who are following along, this opening section is pretty much taken from the card Awakening, or it is a card. In transcript, it's a transcript. Wow. Okay. So taken from Awakening. The Awoken built hidden cities like this throughout the reef. In some we live and raise our children, and others we build our weapons, we train our armies. Or we used to, when we had armies. In the Dreaming City, we learn from greater powers. We meditate, we transcend. This is our most sacred place. So the Dreaming City is one of the cities of the Awoken. Another one being Amethyst, which was actually destroyed, which is what caused Petra to be pushed from basically into an orphan position and was being raised by the Techians after that. But the Awakening is the transcript of the opening mission, and once you first get into the Dreaming City, it is some of the optional dialogue that if you haven't selected to listen to, you should. It's Petra's extra dialogue for that. So we do have a small guide as to what order things in the Dreaming City were created in, luckily. So the Dreaming City is there. It's there to meditate upon the higher powers and learn more. And then as far as things built in the Dreaming City, those things like the Oracle and the Blind Well didn't happen initially. Those came later. The city did exist prior to the threat of orcs, and it was a bastion of the Awoken people. Awoken and Ahamkara lived together, not exactly in harmony, but peacefully enough. So we know that the Awoken were there because Aldrin brought the Awoken there. Aldrin is the one who brought back the first Ahamkara, which was, well, the first Ahamkara within the Dreaming City, which was Riven. And we learned that, I don't remember. Do you guys remember where we learned that?
It was in the Awoken of the Reef. It was, the Awoken of the Reef. Oh gosh, I
blanked on it too.
I just blanked on it. But yeah, he was the baby Riven.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Savin, but Savin's the one where he brings the Guardian.
Yeah. Mara essentially charges Aldrin with bringing her powerful things.
Yeah, she wants the source.
Yeah. And I believe that Riven is one of the first things that he brings her.
No, he brings Riven because he finds the Ahamkara, and it's a unique and powerful source of things.
Right,
so,
but she had already charged him with bringing powerful things. The other one was the flowers that are the asphodelias that are planted throughout the Dreaming City. Those were actually from.
Yeah. No, I was going to say those were from the Black Garden, and that was more of a length of a chain was the mention of that, and he actually kind of did that or not Length of a Change, or that was from the Forsaken Prince booklet, and he did that more to he was trying to get her to show emotion.
Notice me.
Yeah. Well,
it was notice me.
Yeah, it was pretty much witness me.
Now, come on, it's just Notice Me, Senpai. Let's
it is really
Notice
Me, Senpai.
It's Witness Me. I mean, come on. He even had the spray paint, and he got eaten by a giant meatball.
Yeah.
That didn't happen until much later. So.
Although, the asphodelia flowers are not the same as the plant that we get the vials from, and I'm blanking, the ascendant vials that turn you ascendant, or at least allow you to see into the ascendant realm. Queen's foil. That's a totally different plant. But let's see.
Dino. I pulled it up just the same time Dino just put it in the chat as well. So thanks, Dino. It's Telek. Telek 1 and Telek 2 is the story, or the explanation of how Riven was introduced to the Queen. Telek 1 is Aldrin returning with Riven, and then Telek 2 is Mara making like the what does it say? It was Mara alone who established a covenant with a young Ahamkara who chose the username Riven in honor of its host.
Mm-hmm.
It also shows, which actually is a question that I want to ask you in a minute. It also shows that how Mara, quote, Mara alone, whose singular will and unity of purpose, saved the Awoken from that which we now name the Anthem Anathema, end quote. I'm curious as to your thoughts on where that immunity comes from.
Her immunity?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's
not perfectly immune, but she is she is of the Awoken, the most barren as far as the difference, right?
Right. And we were also talking about Ascension, which is part of the reason I asked you to bring that up as far as Lost Lore. And I believe Doom for Zombies asked this earlier in chat, was so the Awoken basically were born in an ascended throne realm of their own. And in some ways, it's not the same as the Sea of Screams.
Mm-hmm.
With that we know and whatnot that we know of. But it has kind of the same overtones in the fact that Mara's will she decided all the rules within that realm as it was being created. So she was essentially the god of that realm. Granted.
Go for it. Sorry, go for it.
Even though she's technically is not a god and she is not labeled as such yet.
She kind of is. She's the god egg. Or the queen.
She's not
queen,
born yet.
Yeah,
she's the queen egged.
She's the queen who reached the other end of the chessboard. What becomes of that? But actually, that's an excellent observation from Doom, because the thing is like the term see. So really quick to kind of go back on that. The important thing to understand with that question is the hierarchy of the Ascendance realm, right? So you have throne worlds, and then you have the Sea of Screams. Those are two separate things. Throne worlds are, and this is kind of this is a mixture of my headcanon and what we know a little bit from the ramblings of Toland. So Toland makes a point of kind of talking about the different throne worlds and how they're all within the Sea of Screams, which leads to my headcanon of the throne worlds are literal like glass bottles floating in the sea. If you've ever seen a message in a bottle, like that kind of imagery, these are all glass bottles that are floating in this endless sea of screams. Now, the term Sea of Screams is something that we get from the Hive. So keep that, for what it's worth. They like dark imagery with their words. That doesn't mean that actually the distributary was not part of it. Could be its own throne world within the quote unquote Sea of Screams. And that would actually explain a lot of what we see with the creation of the Awoken. And like you were saying, the the pressing of her will upon that world, that would make a lot of sense if the distributary was a throne world. Now, the challenge there is what you realize is if that is truly Mara's throne world, that begs the question of that actually brings into question a lot of different things. But I'm not going to jump into that assumption real quick. But I just wanted to make sure there is the concept of Sea of Screams is a semantic or semantics debate between the Hive and English, right? It's not necessarily, the Sea of Screams is not exclusive to the Hive by any means.
Mm-mm. I mean, Mara mentions it in some of her travels.
Yeah, there's a throne world that they built underneath the Dreaming City, for God's sake.
Right.
So
it's part of the Blind Well.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal that.
No, you're good. I mean, we're going to talk about it at some point, and I'm actually kind of getting to that point where, okay, so there's, okay, so I found where I put the Telic reference, the Telic 1 reference with ribbon and everything. Mara had asked that. This is what happens when I write the notes. It gets a little jumbled, apparently. So you had mentioned Savin.
Mm-hmm.
That was another powerful creature, aka the first guardian that Mara was introduced to. At least that's the way the card reads, is that this is the first one she's ever been exposed to. And Savin is actually an awoken that Mara recognizes that was a scientist, essentially. I can't remember exactly which one. Who had
geologist,
said that
if I remember
he
right.
wanted to go to the Gobi Desert, I believe, and
Had
work
an outpost that was made there. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that was the Earthborn, the original Earthborn.
Yeah, he wanted to go and help Earth. So if you remember the group of the Awoken that came out of the Distributary with Mara, there was essentially a splinter group within that. So Mara had her core group, and then the splinter group of that group that came with her that decided they wanted to go back to Earth and help humanity.
They were Riven.
Hence the name of the Ahamkara later.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy, his Savin, who was Chow Mu. So
sorry, that name just makes me giggle.
I know. When I was recording this, it was just something that was like, okay, just power through it. Great face. So Chow Mu was a scientist who wanted to go back and help establish essentially like a farming technique, or like help with irrigation and whatnot, and making sure there's enough water for it. And he doesn't remember any of it because he was killed and risen as a guardian, and doesn't remember any aspect of that, doesn't remember his family, doesn't remember his I believe it's a daughter who's now 110, doesn't remember any of that. And so the thing in this card that scares me the most is the fact that it points out a guardian's essential greed, not greed for items necessarily, but greed for power. And Mara sees this very early on with him. And they kept him around kind of to observe.
Yep, they experimented on him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now actually, I think they did experiment on him. The other thing is this shows where a lot of the powerful feelings that Mara and Uldren towards the Guardians, we already saw the roots of that within Mara's before she was awoken. Because again, to remember, this is not the first exposure that these awoken have had to the Traveler. They were from the Golden Age. They realized and disagreed with the Traveler at that time. And unlike the Guardians, when they were reborn, they remember. So it's interesting to see the maturation, I guess, of that distaste in a way.
Yeah.
Because in their eyes, this is a confirmation that the Traveler is not a good thing.
There is a Mara eventually just comes to see Guardians as a tool
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways. And how do you use a tool? You direct it at something that you want it to be to manipulate. And so she manipulates us through that way. And that will go to later once we actually talk about when she is killed and whatnot and her plan with that. So back to the Dreaming City, back to some of the things that are created in it. The Oracle engine within the Dreaming City was created after the death of the All Teacher Keldavaj. And that is a scary, scary card.
Mm-hmm.
Because and this is from the card Oracle, the way that this comes across is that it kind of reads like the 9, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of doesn't read like the 9
The
because
ancients.
it's not the same format as what the 9 that we call the 9 as far as cards go uses. It's similar, but it's not. But ancients is right. Basically, the ancients take over all the Techians who are scattered throughout the city and basically take them over, and they levitate off the ground like they normally do, like Techians like to, and then they start bleeding out of their eyes and start all saying the same thing at the same time. And basically are asking Mara like
Well,
what
Cad, the All Teacher is. I don't remember all the Techians doing it. Because this is when she started. She was
right. So
she
it's the
starts
very first
unraveling,
line.
which is oh god.
Yeah, it's the very first line of the thing. It said, "There came a morning when the Techians spoke in unison. None of them were near each other. And they said, 'Who are you who builds a hidden city here in our thoughts?'" So, which also just, as far as location of the Dreaming City, is an interesting idea. But it's just terrifying. They're bleeding from their eyes. They're all over the city, and Mara goes and finds the All Teacher, Kelda, and she's the last one who's still stuck in this state. Like, a lot of them have come out of it, and she's stuck in this state. And then, like Blue said, she starts to unravel molecule.
Which that's just a pleasant
particle.
picture.
Yeah, it's just beloved wise Keldavaj burst apart and then collapsed all at once into a singularity that burned and burned and burned, but destroyed nothing around it. From her unthroat came the voice again, which Mara felt in the atomic marrow of her bones, and it said, "What would it ask us?" So they take that singularity that the All Teacher turns into, essentially, and use that to create the Oracle.
That is the Oracle engine.
That is the Oracle engine. And also, interesting notes about the Oracle engine. The Awoken claim to be the creators of the Oracle engine without Riven's help.
Mm-hmm.
Which is they are very adamant about saying. Too.
I mean, to be fair, also it also explains why if you've ever hit that public event, why like Petra, I just hit it earlier today, and this is why it's fresh in my mind. She's like, I want you to drop everything and get here. Like, they're very adamant that the Oracle engine needs to be, and it's because it's literally one of them. Like, it's not a machine that they created. No, it's the actual heart and soul, arguably, of one of their most beloved figures, the All Teacher. And this is that's just something to keep in mind too, I think. But yeah, I think you're also right too, because it points to the fact that this wasn't the Ahamkara's doing. The other thing that stands out for me here is, does it bug you how similar to the way their vernacular is to Mara's own way of speaking?
The ancients, you mean?
Yeah. What would it ask of us? Oh, okay. Who else talks like that in game?
I mean, there's quite a
few.
that
Its
talk
ball
like that.
Thinks that it's found something.
Right.
I mean, Mara just, that's like very distinctly resonating with Mara's own form of speaking.
It's that, I think in that respect,
It's also
it
more
is,
of, yeah, sorry.
it's the separation
Mm-hmm.
of, it's distancing yourself from the person you're talking to. So
yeah,
instead
it's
of
a
saying,
nobility thing.
what would you like to do? That's an engaging thing. To distance yourself would be, what would it like to do?
Yeah,
it creates that separation.
It struck me as more of the nobilese speech.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally.
Which is really, I mean, Mara really does kind of have a exclusive on that as far as like actual speaking.
She does. Oryx did too in some respects, but I mean, we have to remember also that it's Seth writing a lot of this.
True.
And he has that very particular flow on how he likes to write his speech, of especially his very powerful characters.
And that's
Oryx
true.
Also calls out to that with like the "speak to me in royal speech, or I will
pin you up for ear to eat,"
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pin you for ear to eat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So so Mara,
okay, Dad.
The Oracle engine is listed as a bridge, and it's mentioned a few times to be as such. The first time we hear it is back in that first mission to the Dreaming City, Awakening. Petra says, they say Queen Mara used it to walk between realities. No one knew where she went, but they used the Oracle to learn from her while she was gone. Mara has told me it's much more than that. Perhaps you and I will see someday. And then from the pilgrimage, which shout out to Ishtar Collective and to Lowly Dev for collecting all of those pilgrimages, because there are a ton, and Ishtar doesn't even have all of them posted like live. A lot of them are still in the forums. You have to kind of go dig through, but this one is one of the live ones. And it's one of the Oracle Engine ones you can see, and it says the Oracle Engine is a bridge, and I mean that in two ways. Like a bridge of a ship, its powers can be used the whole of the Dreaming City, and like a bridge across a chasm, it links worlds together, which is interesting.
I love the play on words that they put there. Mm-hmm. Also, I just love that, like. Because it is. I mean, it is a great way of looking at things of like, no, because you have a bridge of a ship and an actual literal bridge between two places. Like, I adore when people do that type of play on words.
Yep, totally. And so that brings us to the Dreaming City being made. The Oracle Engine is made. There are a few other stories that happen within the Dreaming City before the whole thing starts happening with the plan and Oryx and whatnot. One of the more disturbing ones is with a Ahamkara that it's when the Awoken finally starts seeing that it's not a
Azram, what? Azram?
Oh my god, Azram is such a jerk.
But he's oh my god, he's so awesome.
Just remember, kids, they're all dead.
No, they're not. Azram shows up to a party. There is a gathering, a seasonal gathering going on, and
it's the dawning. It's the dawning.
It may not be the dawning.
The best part is that Azram's already been banned from the Dreaming City.
Yes, and yeah, Asilla. What the poet. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because we go to the Garden of Asilla, which is actually where this takes place.
Asilla, daughter of Scylla.
Yes.
It's very Norse.
Which Scylla is actually a character we see back in Maracena. But Asilla, she calls him out and says, "What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here," essentially. And Azram's like, "I repent. Let me tell you of the deeds I've done, and I will repent and prostrate myself." Or like it's just, he just basically goes on, and he starts to tell the stories, all these tales, and winding this little lie and telling, oh my gosh, he has the Woken wrapped around his little finger. There are young Corsairs there. There are young Techians there. He's just got this gathering, all just sitting and listening to him talk. And then he basically Pied Pipers them all off the cliff, and they fall to their doom.
So wait, Azram is the Rat King?
Oh, God, yeah.
Get out!
God, I read that and I went, oh my God, you are such a jerk. But the other thing is like, we hear about Ao. So Bones of Ao, anyone from D1?
Yeah.
Ao is also, his nest is at the opening of the raid. It's the one on the left.
Rip those warlocks.
Oh my God. Just, there's so much. If you haven't done any of the pilgrimages, please do. There's some great stuff in there. There's some stuff that's like, okay, it's kind of, yeah, it's interesting, but it's not like life-changing as far as lore goes, but there's some really interesting tidbits there. Which brings us to the plan. The spark that started this infamous plan that so many in-game, namely Petra, have mentioned is Mara got it from a dream. And we see this dream in Tyrannicide 1, long before Oryx ever entered her peripheral. So she saw it in a dream. And then if you want to bring up Tyrannicide 1, you can kind of see where she gets a lot of this. Mara's death began at this mark. Later would come Eris, Osiris, Tolan, all the other associates. She basically, this is the card where it talks about bomb logic. At least the introduction of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys want to talk about that for a tiny bit? I figured we would get into bomb logic at some point, if not multiple times in this episode.
I'll defer to Beard because I know he'll get like growly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if we want to, we certainly can. But again, I'm gonna get growly.
Uh-huh. Okay, I'll move on then. So
right.
essentially,
You've already pushed buttons enough tonight. You don't need to push more buttons.
Oh, Beard,
right?
but I can push so many more buttons with this episode.
Jiminy Crickets, I'd rather you not.
Mm-hmm. So...
I'm already having a tough week. I don't need this.
You love me, and you love every minute of this. So...
I don't know what this is exactly, but sure.
Tyrannicide 1 is where she had the dream.
I like how she just moves on.
Basically... basically, she dreams of Oryx and how he functions, at least the concept of Oryx, and she doesn't know who he is. She doesn't see him. She doesn't know it's a hive. There's no physical thing. She just dreams up that, hey, there's going to be this entity that has this kind of power, and this is something that is going to cause problems in the future. And this happened long before Oryx ever showed up. So after that revelation,
I just want to interject. The problem that I have with all of this is within Destiny lore, there's only like one other being that has somewhat had a vision that is in some way close to this, and that's Rasputin. Because it's alluded to in terms of how his programming is, thanks to General Anshu, where she says, have you ever imagined what's out there that like otherwise isn't or could be a problem for us or etc. in the future? Well, if you haven't, Rasputin certainly has. I'm just like, oh God, no, this is gonna like be a thing later on, isn't it? And it has been. Like this whole time it just has been.
The thing with both Rasputin and Mara with these dreams is I view them less as an actual dream and more of they are clever enough or intelligent enough to see that there is going to be a problem with this possible thing.
And that also comes back to what I know we've kind of discussed on the show a little bit before, with the possible age of Morozov, like for her to have the age to contemplate that there are things that are like this, is another piece I think that needs to be at least somewhat considered. How far, of course, that needs to go, of course, is the question. But I don't know. I just like that she has that sort of intelligence and she does use it to that marker and understands that though she is a powerful being within the universe itself now at this point, or somewhat powerful because of the intellect that she has, maybe not necessarily in the powers that she wields, but definitely in like what she is given and her understanding of the cosmos.
Right.
She understands that there is a multitude of beings that are out there that can influence realms like that of what the distributary was, and what they are to be made, that she is still fairly insignificant because of that reasoning, even if she would like to deem herself as a greater force. But I don't know, I've always just found that the parallels interesting between, for this whole tirade that I've been on here this whole time, the parallels between both Mara and Rasputin in that respect has just been interesting to me.
Dino brings something up in chat in that Awoken tend to have these kind of prophetic type dreams. Most recent one that we've seen is Petra mentions it with the birds.
Mm-hmm.
This was back a few weeks ago at this point, but Petra has had dreams. Aldrin's buddy, I can't remember his name.
Julian.
Thank you. Julian has
Julian the
dreams.
sniper. I love him.
Jur has dreams. Jur sees her own death in the
Mhm.
But
future.
they all are linked as well, because
Right.
you'll see that
Well, it's
though Petra has the same a dream, it seems that many are also having a similar or familiar dream as well.
it's
that's
like
likely
it's
the
like
where
fact that
the
we-
Yep, I was just about to say, because remember who created them.
yeah, I was going to say the linking basically comes into, and granted they talk about this linking, of course, as we go along in the very early books of the or the pages of the Awoken of the Reef, how they talk about Marasab literally being a buffer for damage and so on for them, where Jur literally survives thanks to the fact that she's within like earshot
And
of
she saw her
Mara.
smiling face.
Hey, speaking of Azram, I just unlocked that book. That's kind of ironic.
You know,
moving on.
the other thing is, the more you're chatting about that, Beard, the thing that makes me think of another parallel between Mara and Rasputin too is that both do kind of have a network of proxies.
Correct.
Because
Yes.
oh, go for it, Green, go for it.
It's like that's actually where I'm going to go with the bomb logic versus sword logic, because sword logic is a very direct one-on-one.
It's egocentrical, yeah.
It's egocentrical. Bomb logic is use all the tools, use all the things around you to adjust the outcome of something. Rasputin does that. Mara does that.
And to kind of hammer that point home too, it's a new form of logic, right? Which, hey, by the way, shameless plug that is a poll topic, because now we have three forms of logic that are being presented to us. We have the sword logic, which is an egocentrical logic. You have I don't really know what to call the guardian logic, but it's the more allocentrical form to a degree, especially like the Speaker and Zavala's form of it. And then now you have the bomb logic, which is this almost like social networking type logic. I hesitate to call it that. It's a crowdsourcing, basically. Like they're using the power of the many to actually get more power for the like. It's this weird. It's not really allocentrism because it's a weird blend of it. Because Mara is not, Mara is a lot of things, but one thing you can say for sure is that she's not 100% out for the good of the people. She's out for the good of the Awoken and herself. Because ultimately that's the thing to remember about Mara is that her quest is actually, it's kind of egocentrical. And I don't mean that in the negative sense. I mean that in the sense that she is talking about her evolution more so than the Awoken. Now, the Awoken are going to evolve, along with her, of course. but I don't see Mara, and this kind of transcends into my interpretation of her character. I don't see Mara as being that far away from the Hive in the sense that she's looking out for number one, which is inadvertently tied to the people. The Hive are looking out for number one, but they don't have a tie to the Hive. They have a tie to themselves. They're for those who know my reference here, their phylactery is an individual, whereas Mara's phylactery is the Dreaming City and the general consensus of the Awoken. And then you have the Guardians, who are still kind of up in the air. Like they're almost free agents in this whole thing, but they have theirs being guided currently by characters who are more allocentrical than egocentrical. They are more concerned about, Zavala's speech about the city, the speaker's, adherence to following the light and being good and being defenders of humanity and all this. Now, that's not to say that the Guardians,
Olentan or
right,
Osiris, or
right,
Ptolemy.
and I was about to say, you have Guardians who definitely don't follow that. Yor, Osiris. I mean, yes, I will group, warlords. I mean, all these, they are definitely the free agents in this whole thing. But that is Mara is presenting a new paradigm into this up until now, this binary world. And that's a very interesting component because that comes with a lot of ramifications, because again, we now have, we have a different degree of this image of the Destiny's universe with this new logic. And that's actually one of the things I find really fascinating about the bomb logic, or the logic of the bomb, or whatever you want to call it, is that it's not that it's necessarily better. It's not that it's necessarily all that distinct. It's just a different flavor of the physics of the universe that exists within Destiny. That's why I'm really a big fan of it, is because it's exactly a different angle of the same picture.
Well, it's that thing that Destiny has been very good at doing this whole time, at least in my opinion, has been skirting this path of
Perspective.
Probably a very good relation for some that might be out there, but like the Old Republic's Jedi versus Sith, it's a usability of the Force and how you utilize it, but they're just basically they're the opposite sides of the same exact coin, but they can still be used in the same exact function. It's just how you contort and utilize it that differs. And that's how most of these overall ideas and philosophies that we have within Destiny kind of progress and move. It's honestly been a video I've wanted to make now for a little while, like between the sciences of how Destiny kind of works out and how it doesn't really make a lot of sense, and how the Traveler is an affront to any physics that we basically know. Which effectively means that the light is also an affront to everything that we effectively can kind of know. It is a difference, though, like you had said, Blue, in perspective to how most of the universe can actually be ultimately viewed as guidelines. But again, of course, comes down to the basics between sword logic and now bomb logic at the point of all of this, where it's one thing is multifaceted, another is going to be single-faceted. At least at its absolute heart.
Yeah, and it goes back to our conversation with John about the Dredge and Yor saga. It's all about the bias. It's all about the degree of perspective of which you're looking at the story, right? And you have to keep that in mind. I mean, we were talking about that ourselves earlier. I love that. I love that because what that does is that encourages, as long as you can do it maturely, that encourages a very colorful conversation about what the implications of that inference are.
Yeah. Yeah, it allows for many different effective philosophies to kind of branch out, which is why I think that Bungie is also taking more and more credits to refer back to Olentan within the last several expansions as well, just because of that dichotomy of like light and dark and how it actually is influenced and how they're just like opposite sides of each other, but one needs to exist with the other, etc. They're all effective parts of the whole parts of the whole. But like the how they go about it, of course, can be a little different. Green, I feel like we got this way off the topic.
Yeah,
No,
sorry.
it's okay.
You introduced
okay.
you introduced the carrot of philosophy.
I
And
did.
Beard and I might have jumped at that one.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say as soon as you that's why I didn't want to talk about bomb logic too much, because it can get the little information we effectively know about it is enough for us to run with and be dangerous with it.
Right.
But not know all the intricate pieces about it, which is the ironic part, because I can tie this right back for you in looking at, of course, how the plan effectively is too.
And and that's true. And here's the thing that I want to point out about bomb logic, and this is a discussion that I see kind of going on right now in chat. Bomb logic is the ability to not only have, it's like having plan C through Z in your back pocket. It's knowing the people around you.
I just said that in chat.
Them. And it's a chess game.
It's Mara playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
Now, that being said, it's not the concept of Mara went and just lost, quote unquote.
Right. No,
died. It's not that. That's dying was part of the plan. And that's something we're going to get into, is Mara had to go into Oryx's throne world. She had to get in there. And the way that she could get in there easily was essentially to trick him into killing her. So going back to getting onto the concept of the plan, the first instances where we see the goal of the plan happen in Tyrannicide 3. And it's when Mara is talking to Shur. And this is where this is the card, I believe, where she's discussing her confession, her secret. And she says, there are many ways to godhood, Mara tells her. The belt of Orion glitters on her helmet like a 3-star rating left by some hive entity Shur once killed. One way is to kill all that is killable, so that all remains must be immortal. So that's kind of Oryx's way. Another is the road I have walked, mostly by accident. One of these ways is closer to the sword, and one is closer to the bomb. If the bomb can defeat the sword by the standard of the sword, then the bomb has claim to primacy. So it's the Mara admits that a lot of how she's gotten to this point in her life, which she is technically, I believe she is queen at this point, or she's about to become queen. But I'm pretty sure she's queen at this point because the Oracle engine is made and Dreaming City is there and everything like that. So Mara's got this concept of how she performs the bomb logic. It's not an action per se like sword logic is. Sword logic is a direct action. I kill you, therefore I am more proving that my will is stronger than your will and I'm more powerful than you, so I take your place. Bomb logic does not do that. Bomb logic proves that I am smarter than you, essentially, and that I am able to adapt more easily than you. And I don't have to go at you directly. I can go around and cause you to cause your own death, or cause you to have a guardian come and kill you, because essentially that's what she does with us. So if we follow through this chronologically, though, it's...
Real quick, she uses her tools.
Yes.
She uses the tool sets that she's found. And that goes back to her review of the Guardians. Mm-hmm. We're not individual. We're not humanity. And I think the Awoken's eyes. We are less than human. I think it would be safe to say,
especially
to her, and I mean, well, and I would argue almost to all the Awoken, like
except for Petra.
I mean, like
Petra's more friendly than.
I
She
mean, I
sees this
can,
as more
I
than-
can, I can take care of certain tools better than I take care of other tools. It doesn't make
I don't
them
know.
human.
She was a friend to Cade, though.
I mean, that's valid. That's true. I mean, but I hesitate to even say this next point. But Mara was a friend to Shax.
We don't know if she was a friend to him or she just used
I
him
mean-
as a tool. If you want to go down that road,
That's correct. I was skirting around it, but yes, that might have been what I was. There it is.
Uh-huh.
There it is. There it is.
There's
All
the
right, my
girl.
job's done.
Yeah, I know what you were trying to do. I don't like it, but I know
Oh
what you
my
were trying to do.
Chat, you are so bad right now. So
Chat.
moving on, I am moving past this as quickly as possible. If we're going to follow this chronologically, though it is possible that it happened prior to Tyrannicide 2 and Tyrannicide 3 and the development of the plan, it is likely that the next card after that, so if we're going to put these in order as far as chronologically, would be Throne. And this is the card from the Dreaming City book where Eris teaches, she relays the information about the hive and Oryx to the Awoken. So Throne is from the book Dreaming City. Eris returns to the Vestian outpost because she spoke well. It was agreed that aid would be traded for intelligence and long-term alliance. So Mara learns of Oryx. She learns of the onslaught of the hive and the problem that the hive is going to bring. And this is the card where they basically decide that, hey, we need to make something that is going to help us sustain, I think is a good way to put it. This is also the card where Mara mentions egg, which we made reference to at the beginning, that Mara has kind of got her little god egg thing going on. This is the second mention of the term egg, the first one being the very first card of Mara Senna, Arquiliqui, and this one, Throne. But this is where they decide to make the blind well. Nasia drew up the schematics, Portia worked out the calculations, and they tested it with a small rift generator in the eastern shore. And then they went and dug the cathedral, or dug a well in the Grand Cathedral, which is the location where the blind well is when we go in there now. And guess who helps them? Riven. Riven helps them dig it out. And Lysel and Sadia augured the first borehole with the help of Riven, who had taken the shape of a needle-nosed basilisk. While Callie and Shirochi constructed the gate itself deep below in a hall they named the Confluence. Fun fact, the Confluence is the room that you fight I can't think of, is it the Siren of Riven, or is that what they're actually called? We just call them the Meatball most of the time. There's a mission when Petra is in where she was last week. I can't think of the name of it right now, and I'm not in game. But the mission where you are fighting to save the Corsair, it's called Broken Corsair is the name of the mission. At the end of the mission, you go down into the Confluence to see, you fight off a meatball, and you purge the area, essentially. So this is also the card where we learned that Queen's Foil was made. Ellen made tincture after tincture of Queen's Foil until her clothes stank and her hands were stained reddish black. And this is also where we learned...
It's Siva, guys!
What's that?
It's Siva, guys!
It's not Siva.
Oh, what? It's red!
Oh, God. You and Anon needs to stop, too.
You and jumping to conclusions. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I know. I do that all the time.
Seriously, Bear. Seriously.
I love to jump to conclusions. I absolutely adore it. It's my favorite part of my day. Am I carrying this on too long? I think I am.
You jumped to a conclusion there.
I guess so.
Sorry, Grade.
No, you're good. At the end of the building of the well, we learn, or we hear kind of a conversation between the Techyuns. They're concerned. Would it not be wiser to leave this door without a key? They don't want anybody to be able to access it. Mara corrects him, says egg. She's not even like really paying attention.
I love that. She's like just passively like, no, it's not
chewing
a door.
on a. She says chewing on her thumbnail. Like she's chewing. She's got bad habits. The queen has bad habits. She's chewing on her nails.
I took it more as like she was thinking about something else and just like passively like heard it. You know, like when you hear someone just say something. I don't know. I have a 5-year-old. So I do this all the time. I hear him say something and it's just like you just offhandedly, like without really even thinking about it, you just correct it. And you just like, it's not looking down. It's not like you're talking down to him or anything like that. It's just you're teaching, right? And it's that's how I kind of took it was.
I don't think she's like being derogatory or anything like that to them. I just think it's cute that she has a kind of a bad habit of chewing her nails. And I know she's chewing it because she's thinking on it, but it's just funny. It's a humanized trait, which is adorable to see. This is the card where they basically say, do we wish to trust the Guardians?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, Mara has kind of walked away at this point in some respects. And then Ilyn says, there is only the plan. Remember your vows. So the plan is basically in place at this point. They know what they're going to try to do. And they're going to hope that everything works out. We do find there are a few hiccups in the way, but as we go along. So Mara learned about orcs. We built the blind well, the schematics, the confluence, the gate. Let's see here. Read through without. So that is the one piece of the plan that we kind of have already. Another piece of the plan was Petra. In some respects, Petra was honored with the title of Queen's Wrath right at the beginning of House of Wolves, essentially. There's a really sweet scene where you see Petra basically essentially knighted in some respects or risen up into that rank. It's
Ascending?
Very formal. Yeah, she's ascending to the rank of Queen's Wrath. It's adorable. It's a very good, fun card to read.
I liked it too.
We also kind of learn why, in some respect, Petra was chosen, because Petra, you have to remember, Petra is super young. She had not been with the queen for very long in comparison to a lot of her other corsairs. And the thing with Petra being risen to that rank was because of her utter devotion to Mara. She is pretty much blind in her devotion to Mara. She's unflappable in a lot of ways. Now, that doesn't mean she doesn't doubt at times. We saw that she was struggling to, in some respects, to keep faith in the plan, or keep faith that she'll see Mara again. But she never fails that.
That's true. And the other thing to keep in mind too is that Petra was the one that found Shur.
Yes.
So there's a connection also within Mara's view between Petra and Shur. And we know the feelings that Mara had towards that. So there was, because that was also the scene where they found, because when they found Shur, that's where Petra got kind of brought in to I guess you could call it the inner circle of Mara's world. And so then that's also kind of an explanation too, where you kind of maybe see a catalyst of which caused Petra to leave the Tetuan order. You know, because we don't know we don't know exactly where that whole thing falls.
Petra's the way that Petra got into the Tetuan order was that orphaning that happened because Amethyst got destroyed, and
no, it's one of the
pilgrimages.
Right, but I don't think that was what caused her to get into the Technion Order. That was what caused her rage at which we lost to Uldren's bombing. Because that was her sister. She was already in the Order at that point because her sisters and the Technions were her family that were slaughtered.
I swear there was a line that Petra says in game that talks about
now that might like as far as why she left the Order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. That would make more. Okay, I think Dino just said that. I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying that was the orphanage, or that was the orphaning that got her into the Order.
No.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood.
I meant to go the other way with that.
Okay, yes, I can see that because that's where she became, and that's where I saw her becoming so wrathful that she then would later make the erroneous call to bomb things.
Yeah. Petra is the steadfast one. Another card that kind of shows that is Black Talon, the sword card, or the sword Black Talon. Its card. Takes place 3 months after the Taken War, and they're trying to do this memorial for Prince Uldren and the Queen, and Petra she's not going to go. She doesn't want to do the memorial because she wants people to believe that they're still alive, because Petra doesn't know all of the plan. We also know that. The only person who knows the majority of the plan besides Mara is Eris, and that's by necessity because Eris needed to know the plan to be able to help push us in the right direction. So that takes me into Tyrannicide 4, where we learn that Eris has been in cahoots with the Queen for quite a while, and her reference of "my Queen" at the end of the mission Regicide it's a reference to Mara. It's not to Zavathun. It's not to anybody else, as far as like the spin foil that we used to have. Another tie from Eris to the Queen is to the lore entry Letters, which is a slightly disturbing and sad entry that it's Eris who is, she's not as steadfast in it. She is kind of furious with Mara in various aspects in this card, and she I don't know, she struggles through this card a lot. This card was really hard for me to read and record. Both crowns have been sundered, and sky save me, but I am unmoored. I have been a blade crying for a hand to wield me for so long, but what is a blade without nothing solid to cut? You will gentle me. You will tell me I can rest. I will try to pull me to the libraries. I cannot. It's Eris kind of, I don't know, on the brink of almost madness in some respects. Sorry.
She's not having a good time of it.
No.
Least.
Well, and it's what happens when someone who's dedicated their entire existence to one pure goal finally achieves that goal. It's the day after.
Yeah.
It's what happens the day after you achieve it. It's like, well, what do I do now?
The thing about that entry of Letters is that there's no timestamp. There's no time in it that can actually, you can't pinpoint where in the order of everything that lies. It could be current in game, like Eris could be writing those right now. It could be right after the Taken King happened, because the only thing that we have to grasp is that Eris says that she will meet her at her throne in the very last entry of that. It's an interesting dynamic to add into it. So that's all the different pieces of the puzzle. We have Blind Well, we have Petra being acting regent / Queen's Wrath, and then Eris, who has been kind of instrumental in developing the plan with Mara, or at least being a part of the plan with Mara. So the Dreaming City was evacuated right before the attack on the Dreadnought. We learned that from Petra in the mission Awakening. That same mission, I really, if you haven't listened to those, really, it's on Ishtar. Go listen to them. There's really great stuff in there. And then we witness the death of Mara in the opening of the Taken King, which is The Coming War, is the name of that cinematic. In Tyrannicide 5, we see her step into Oryx's throne world and waits for the moment where we Guardians will defeat him. So if I've mentioned Tyrannicide quite a bit, it is part of The Awoken of the Reef, if I'm remembering correctly.
I believe so.
That book covers a lot of time. It covers an immense amount of time, and those cards fall back to back to back. And as you've noticed, I've weaved in entries and cards from a lot of other things to help fill in the gaps between them, because there's just a lot of information that isn't said in the Tyrannicide cards. But so we see her step into the throne world. She dies. She goes into his throne world and basically just waits. And as Mara slips into Oryx's throne world, Oryx slips into the Dreaming City. And the way he does this...
They're like two ships passing in the night.
They really are. And the way he does it is kind of ingenious. We find out in one of the Truth to Power books or cards that we have. I think it's the very first one. And it says 3. My best guess is that the awoken Techien aboard Queen Sob's flagship fled into the Dreaming City through a gate or portal, and the Dreadnought's main weapon followed them down that link. Awoken message traffic indicates the Dreadnought weapon is innately connected with Oryx's intellect and awareness. The instant he pierced the Dreaming City, he must have understood the value of the site and deployed his Taken to attack. The other reason we can say that this is likely the case is that Shirochi reaches out to Mara as everything is falling apart. The Techians have been given orders to go through their self gates, which are basically portals, to get them out of there. And Shirochi, she doesn't go right away. She reaches out to Mara, and Mara calls it out herself in the Reverie Dawncast, where she should have factored Shirochi's love in her design, and she's berating herself for it, because without having factored it into her design, the bomb logic or whatnot, that allowed for Oryx to slip into the Dreaming City. So that's one of Mara's mess ups.
I love the fact that they have her character have a mess up like that.
Yes, I do too. I think
because otherwise, I don't know. I don't like it when characters are like quote unquote perfect.
Yeah,
it makes it boring in a way. Or predictable, I guess would be a better word for it.
Right. So Mara doesn't see that coming. Oryx slips into the Dreaming City. Mara can't do anything to stop that. And she also can't do anything in Oryx's throne realm until we defeat Oryx in the raid. At the moment of Oryx's true death, Mara can step through the ruins of the throne realm. And we see that in the Reverie Dawn Tabard card or entry. And interesting thing about all the Reverie Dawn sets, it's very night oriented. A lot of them are named after pieces of French armor and whatnot. Fun little trivia fact with that. But Mara steps through his realm, the ruins of his throne realm, and across the Ascendant Plane, and meets with Tolan in Reverie Dawn Gauntlets, and she scares the bejesus out of him, chases him out of his, basically, for lack of better term, his janky little trailer park house type thing that he hasn't. Tolan has made himself a little place. The queen goes in there and scares him away. And it called it out in the card that it is not a marvelous place. It is a very, I'm trying to find the line itself. Where is that line? She finds her footing upon a plane of swords and madness and all-consuming curiosity. So Tolan is just kind of being thrown about, and she asks, "Who are you?" Or he asks, "Who are you?" The question summons an almost forgotten answer deep within the rapidly solidifying shape of her, which I find is really interesting. Is she, because he calls to her, she is able to solidify and recoalesce some of the consciousness of who she was before. And that is when she makes her famous line, or she says her famous line, "I am Marasov, starlight was my mother, and my father was the dark. And this thing that was once Tolan flees before her, darkness, light, shadow, majesty."
So why do you think that Tolan was so terrified of her?
I think, as far as like headcanon or like legit canon?
Both.
Tolan, I think at that point, is Mara had seized upon a lot of the power that Oryx left in his wake to be able to step through the throne realms. That is part of the reason, I believe, and I'm pretty sure there's a line that says that she grasped a hold of, like, she grasped the power, she took up the power, or at least some of it, and that at this point, Tolan sees her will, which is so much sharper and so much more distinct at this point. And she's a terrifying woman. I don't know if you've ever went and talked to her. She's terrifying to talk to. As far as legit lore, I think it's more because of the darkness as well as the light within her that causes him to flee. And Tolan is not a reliable character in some respects at this point.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
I could never imagine Tolan as not being reliable.
I mean,
Hey guys, let's go down in this cave and kill a god. That sounds like a great idea, Mr. Let's explore hive magics.
And I'm sure there's an actual reason he had for that. But the interesting thing is
killing his team so he could get.
He didn't do that on purpose. I don't legitimately think he did that on purpose.
Are you sure? Beard. Do you want me to tell you why he probably did?
Sacrifice.
The quiddity of death.
Something about a song and it not being ready.
Oh, man.
I love how chat's like, no.
I mean, okay. I want to have some redeeming, I want Tolan to have some redeeming qualities, but at this point,
there's plenty of redeeming qualities. He's crazy for one.
He's a warlock, or was a warlock. He's not okay.
Now he's a ball of ascendant energy.
And even then, they call him a creature, the creature that once was Tolan. I don't know how much he actually has within himself. I don't know how much he is still himself, because even Mara doesn't come to herself within the Ascendant realms. There's a part of her that is pulled into consciousness, pulled into coalescence when Tolan asks, or Tolan.
Yeah, when Tolan demands that she define herself.
Right, she does.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, defining yourself within the.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, chat is so angry at me. I'm sorry, chat. I want him to be slightly redeemed in some respect. He is a jerk. I get that.
That's not the language that they're using in chat.
I know. I'm trying to say PG for the podcast because I know Blue likes it better. But dang, guys,
they might have opinions.
I understand that Tolan, and I will be the first to tell you, he was not forthcoming with his fire team when they went down into the pits. That is a whole.
She says.
That is a whole nother. Gosh.
There's no redemption, Green. Just pull the ripcord. Bail out.
The thing he does say, as far as having a truthful thing or whatnot, at least he's worried when we're entering the Dreaming City.
Oh yeah.
That we're going to release the curse. He knows there's something wrong. He also
warns us. Yeah, he also warns us to not be so trusting, which is hilarious.
Right, because it's Toland. You're not going to trust him. But we don't listen to him, and we do it anyway, and we release the curse, and this trap has been sprung. So, chat, please forgive me for that. I'm just trying to not be so mean to him. I don't know why, but I'm trying. Okay, got to go find my spot in the notes because we got really far down in the notes. All right, so so she travels across the ascendant plane, meets up with Toland, who runs away. Blue, did you have an idea of why she may have run away?
Nope.
Or he may have ran away?
I just wanted to ask the question, just in case, because I know I've seen a couple people voice it, so I was just curious.
I mean, she's taken a hold of Oryx's power, and
yeah, I mean, I think it's the I legitimately think it's the difference in power, and Toland, like you said, Toland is described as a creature, and what do creatures do? They recognize in hierarchy who's stronger, and they avoid it. Like, it's a very pack mentality or pecking order mentality. That's not something that's. I think the description of him as a creature, kind of in my mind, confirms that
apt.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more animalistic at this point than really whatever he has been even before.
Yeah, that's true. I still feel slightly sorry for him. He did it to himself.
But yeah, I mean, you can pity it. You can pity something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Toland, there's still so much that we don't know about Toland that that's still kind of up in the air. But from what we know about Toland,
it's not he's not very redeeming.
No, it's very hard to find anything redeeming about his character. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's not possible, but currently with the current painting of his portrait, it is not a very bright one. It is very dreary.
Yeah. Dino made a really good comparison. He says, I pity Toland like I pity Golem. And that I could stand
Oh my God.
that.
Now I have that stuck in my head.
But that's a really good way to view it because
he was
Golem
after his precious.
He was consumed by his desire for the ring. Yeah. Toland was consumed by his desire for the hive.
Or for the song, for the escape, the knowledge. The knowledge.
His warlock tendencies.
What drives a warlock to madness?
Truth.
Or the desire to reach it. So Toland flees. She's traveling through the Sea of Screams. She reaches the edges of, and I always struggle with the pronunciation of this. It is Eleusinian, because it's supposed to be.
Eleusinian.
Eleusinian. Yeah, it's like a reference to the Elysian Fields, right? That is. Right. It's in the Elysian Fields are Greek
to at the very least, yes. It took many an hour to make sure I had that fully right.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I believe that somebody else has made mention of that as well, which I believe is Eris Morn.
Mm-hmm. And she reaches the edges of the throne realm that she and Ribbon had created for herself. So the Blind Well was the conduit to create the throne realm for Marasov. Mm-hmm. And that throne realm is underneath we stay underneath. As far as the physical location of it, it is underneath, but it's quite vast. If you've done the Shattered Throne dungeon, you're traveling through part of her throne world. There's also the Strike. You're traveling through pieces of the throne realm that Riven and Mara created. So in the Rivery, Dawn grieves, let's see here, but is met with a festered geometry that Oryx has caused. So the throne realm is not recognizable. It's recognizable, but it is destroyed in the way that we see it now. It has been torn down, broken up. Pieces are flying everywhere. It's kind of what we did to Oryx's realm in some respects, but on a grander scale even. And she follows his footsteps. She follows Oryx's footsteps, not anybody else's. She follows Oryx's footsteps because this is how he got in back to the Dreaming City. And this is where she discovers the amount of damage that Oryx has been able to cause while she's been gone. And she sees the Taken. She sees that so many were taken.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of destruction going on. And apparently at this point, the 9 are screaming at the whole event. And this is like, they're mad at her. They're just flat out mad. And that card is re-extinction. And the 9 are basically arguing with each other in a panic. She's ruined everything. Such blind arrogance. We are lost. Hurry. He will recruit them all if we do not act now. What can we do? Done cannot be undone. Everything is lost. Kill them where they creep and crawl. Let their bones whisper not. The children, they are not our children. We have no time for sentiment. It is this or we lay ourselves bare before the veil. The 9 in this card, which I say it's the 9 because this is done in the same formatting that we have seen some of the other cards that were spoken from the 9. And in this card, the 9 decide to intervene at least slightly. We must before he takes them all. Imagine his power. Reach together now. No, no, no. That our touch be lethal. Riven. We will it so. The dreamer is lost. Call the rest. That our judgment be true. We will it so. So they, in this card, which is terrifying to read, it almost sounds as if the 9 decide to cause an extinction, is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's the name of it too, right?
Re-extinction. And they cause the extinction of what?
Either Harbingers is my thought, or Kara.
Do we know?
Or the Aphelions.
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm not ascribing to that. I'm
God.
not ascribing to that
The
whatsoever.
affiliates are the new
I don't even-
Nezarec point.
What's that? What's that, Blue?
Right? No, I was just pulling words out of a hat.
Yeah,
It's what I do.
I can't wait to talk about my little theory with them one of these days when I'm able.
I'm excited to hear that at some point.
Oh, you're gonna be so let down.
Is it like the theory that you have on Savathun and Nezarec?
Oh, you are gonna be so let down.
I don't know what that means. Oh boy, you're in a treat. You're going to be let down. Okay. I'm confused.
Look,
that
response is the best.
I can't wait for it. Never translates or doesn't always have to translate to. Everybody's going to love this.
Oh no, that's not. I like butting heads with you. As you can tell.
I'm dying.
I I know. I don't even know how to continue at this point. Gosh. So the nine step in and do something. They cause an extinction is what it sounds like in the card, but we don't know what they were trying to prevent orcs from taking. If it was the Ahamkara, that would be really interesting. Because that would mean they're truly extinct, except for Riven.
There's also the other now I forget exactly which one it is, but there's another reference of how those were not ours. Stop your useless prattle or something similar. I can't remember exactly what it is now.
One of the other cards from the 9.
Yeah, it is. I honestly cannot remember what it is, but
What about the comment about the children?
yeah.
That comment, they say they are the one says they are the children. The next line, which is a different voice, says they are not our children.
Right. They were not ours, or nothing even happened, etc. Just all these weird mentions, and it just still lines up possibly with what what had happened with the Great Hunt and whatnot, especially with the little bits that we kind of know about it.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing is here, this card right here takes place right as Mara is killed in Taken King, and before she makes the journey. Because, and this is something interesting to note, the 9 cannot see into the Ascendant Realm. At least I don't believe they can because of this card. Because they say the dreamer is lost, call the rest. They don't realize that Mara is still there.
Mm-hmm.
They know that orcs came and tried to take everything in the Dreaming City, which is why Mara had the Dreaming City evacuated prior to it. Blue, no. I disagree with that line of logic because Mara is named as the Dreamer multiple times throughout the Maracina and through Awoken of the Reef.
I'm gonna say the Dreamer is referenced in several different things because even Riven is kind of showcased as the Dreamer a couple of times as well, which is the annoying part.
Mm-hmm.
So there's several realistic correlations that we can kind of make back towards it. It almost seems like it is in relation more to like those that are part of the Dreaming City in a way, but that's a very broad topic, of course.
Right. An interesting idea would be that if the Dreamer is less, call the rest. If the rest is a reference to the rest of people that are within the Dreaming City at that point, which at that time would have been the Techians. Because the Self Gates went back to the Dreaming City, and that's when Shirochi and Callie and I can't remember the last one. The one from the raid, the last one from the raid, and then there was one from the strike. They're the ones who get taken. They're the ones who were with Mara when Mara got blown up with Taken King. The Self Gates went back to the Dreaming City, and that's when they were taken, along with Riven. So they're not the rest because obviously they're not dead or they're not prevented or like destroyed or anything like that by the 9. And at this point, do we even know if the 9 have that kind of power? We know they see a lot of things and they play a bigger game, but can they actually...
That's the interesting part, is if they happen to be awoken or something similar. If that's the case, then the like all awoken just really like to keep secrets like humanity kind of does anyway. Mm-hmm. Which really kind of argues or begs the question, heck is even about being awoken? I much prefer being an exo.
I like being awoken.
You
all
would.
my characters are awoken.
Uh-huh. All my characters are exo, so I can't
That's
really
fine.
talk.
Yeah, it's fine. But that brings us to essentially where we're at now. Mara is within that she's within the Oracle, which is not a throne realm, because the throne realm is, remember, the place where Oryx destroyed everything. The Oracle, which is interesting that it is something totally different. I don't know how Mara slipped by everybody and got into the Oracle. Do we think that the Oracle is another pocket universe? Because it's within a singularity, like the distributary was?
Kind of is a singularity that almost seems like it has its own being outside of the one that it absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the interesting part, which means that realms themselves also have what's the best way to put it? Realms themselves also have not knowledge, but they have
sentience.
Grief. Yeah, that'll work fine. But yeah,
Their own physics, their own mathematics, their own language,
geometry.
Yeah,
geometry,
which also ties back to several other things and goes along with Bife's Void Lords very well. The Void Lords themselves are the Void.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the realms they're in.
But that brings us to there, and the other updates that we have of Mara are in relation to the different visits we have done. The visit that we got from the emissary of the Nine that showed up randomly, and the fact that Mara has been having multiple visitors apparently within that little throne room or throne realm. Beyond that, there's not a whole lot else that I feel is pertinent to go into at the moment. We talked about the development of the Awoken in the Arsena episode. We've talked about Awoken of the Reef. It's this one I wanted to talk about what happened to Mara in her travel from being killed and taking King through the Sea of Screams, chasing off Tolan, and what she was like within that time period, kind of what was going on outside of it, and then her showing back up in the Dreaming City and how she got there. That was my main goal with this episode. Do you guys have anything else you want to discuss when it comes to Miss Queenie?
She's still nuts.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree with that. But she's my kind of nuts. But Blue?
Nope. I'm good.
No? Cool. If you guys want to read into more about Mara and the Awoken, the 4 books that I used primarily to pull information from for this episode was Maracena, The Awoken of the Reef, The Forsaken Prince, and The Dreaming City. There's also the Reverie Dawn set, armor set. Lots of information about her travels through the Sea of Screams are in those. And I don't think I pulled too much outside of those sources at the moment. So, you guys want to go to shoutouts?
Yep.
Beard?
Just a general shout out that the holidays make everybody crazy, and I try to keep that in mind as much as I can. So try to have a little bit more patience with each other as best as possible. Otherwise, you too will go crazy and lost within the realm that is the holidays. So speaking of Void Lords and having their own overall ideas and thoughts and so on, the holidays themselves are just another entity that we have to conquer, especially parental visits.
Yeah. I don't have to do those this year. Blue, do you have any shoutouts?
No, pretty much what Beard is just, be patient, be aware that everyone is trying their best to get where they need to go, and that might not necessarily coincide with where you need to go, but just be patient and enjoy the time that you have with family, and if you have time off, enjoy it. Just take some time and appreciate what you have, especially after weeks like this week. It just makes it that much more makes it something that much more valuable, and that
Sure.
a big shout out to everyone who is both listening and who is active in our chat on Discord and in Twitch and on Twitter. Again, we say it a lot, but I truly mean it, is we really value what you guys give us as far as like the content to cover, your thoughts, and all that. That is something that we truly enjoy reviewing and exploring with you guys alongside us, and we look forward to that being something that we continue to do for many years to come, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much mine.
Totally. Be safe. Be patient. The holidays seems like everybody gets really, really spun up quick, and they have to go do things. Be patient. Take the long way. Take a breath. All those things are good to remember any time of the year, but especially this time. And probably my biggest, I guess, PSA is more of, there are people around you who during the holidays have a harder time than others. Now, granted, everybody tends to have a hard time during the holidays, but there are people who have seasonal depression, and that starts to hit really, really hard around this time of year. I bring this up mainly because my wife deals with it, and it is something that is a struggle for the both of us to have to work together and be able to not only be a rock for each other, but to be able to be that soundboard and help not necessarily pull the person out of it, but help be the person that they need you to be at that time. So there are going to be lots of people out there who deal with that kind of thing, and just being a kind and gentle soul like you guys always are. Before we started this episode, we actually opened Christmas presents that our moderator team sent, and it is very heartening to, and I'm going to start crying because I'm a big sap, but it's heartening to get not only just the present itself, but the kind words that come along with it, to know that you guys are supportive through all of this, because there is a lot of hard work that goes on in the background for these episodes and for the videos that Beard puts out. And a lot of times it's kind of the moments where you feel like you're taken advantage of, or like you feel like nobody really cares or watches. But kind words like this, or a gift, or even a message on Twitter or on Discord saying, "Hey, I think you're awesome," or "Hey, I hope you have a great day." Those kind of things make such a big difference in a person's day. Even if you don't think that that person's going to respond, it still will make a difference. It really does. Anyway, soapbox, crying. I'm done. Let's shut this down.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see you. So we won't see you next week, but we will see you the following week. We are still working on the actual time of the live stream. I'm going to try my best to have it not affect when we actually drop the episode, but we probably will have it pushed back a day or two, just simply for terms of services with Twitch. Because we'll be streaming on a Sunday, and I can't drop it on a Monday if we do that. So keep an eye out in the Discord and on Twitter for that particular schedule. But we will be planning on recording on the 30th for the next episode. So again, everyone have a great holiday, and we will see you when we get back from vacation. With that, we'll begin to wrap the chat up. Thank you again to those over on Twitch for coming to spend your evening with us. If you'd like to join us for the live streaming of the episodes, please be sure to give us a follow over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. Links to our episode archives can be found at www.focusfirechat.com. Please be sure to email us at focusfirechat@gmail.com with any comments or questions for our team concerning the podcast, and let us know how we're doing by giving us some feedback and a rating over on iTunes as well. Also, be sure to check out all of our amazing partner podcasts within the Guardian Radio Network over on theguardiansofdestiny.com. So until next time, focus your fire and may your light shine bright.
Hooey.
So not gonna lie,
Yes.
in the middle of like one of the serious conversations that you were having, I was running Mayhem, and Shaxx literally in the thing is yelling at our site because he wanted him to bring him haggis, and he gave him a handful of bullets instead. And I'm sitting here biting through my tongue, trying not to laugh my ass off at this because I'm like, oh my god. He's like, bring me some haggis while I shout this, Matt. No, those are never mind. I'll go get it myself.
The fact that
oh my
Shaxx wants
god.
haggis.
It's just died.
Oh my goodness. Night to all the guys that are leaving.
Hey guys.
Night Mystic. But have you heard some of the other Mayhem voice lines that he has now?
No.
Oh my god, they're
funny.
he's kind of feeling his oats in some of those voice lines.
You know, he's been sewing them, so might as well feel them.
Oh man. My lord.
I've had to put up with too much crap tonight. Really rather
Beard.
not.
We need to do we did an EXO update not terribly long ago.
I really don't like that Frostveil armor.
Where's Zer?
Io.
He is in the
Io.
giant scar on Io. I had to give him cookies.
Thanks. That's what I need to do too.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason I know the answer to that question is I had to go give him a cookie.
I need to make his cookie.
Oh Jesus
haven't
Christ!
made
How
this
did I
yet.
get so many of those?
Also, can I just say the fact that Cole did the comic with the cookies before the Dawning drop and we are making cookies for everybody
Don't call her prophetic, please. Don't.
No,
She
I'm not
doesn't
calling her
know.
prophetic.
No,
I'm calling
she doesn't
her
need more of an ego. Stop.
No.
Stop. Wait.
She ruined my headcanon because now all these cookies are tainted with the problem that is in that comic.
What do you think Vex Milk is?
Oh my god, Beard. I hope she's still in chat. I hope she heard that.
think she
I
is.
hope she heard that. I'm gonna Cole is Osiris confirmed. Oh god, no. I hope not. That's terrifying. That's not milk. Oh my gosh. The fact that it's a warlock that did it too in the comic makes it that much better.
What are you saying?
Pins. Just wait, Pins. It's gonna get better. The next one she's coming out with about Flan is gonna be interesting.
Better or
Mhm.
worse?
Yes.
Do you know what those words mean?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Oh, this is cute. Zer doesn't have much to call his own.
Oh my god,
Always
yeah.
Have your gift
Unless he
until
eats it.
eats them.
If
If he does eat.
I love that. Where Anna's was funny too. She was like, "I don't trust you."
She's like looking at them like, I don't know. What is no?
I tried to give Hawthorne hers, but Lewis wasn't there, so
Yeah.
I couldn't give it to her.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Lewis wasn't there?
No, he wasn't on the perch.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was really confused. I don't know if he's like disappearing every once in a while, or if I just got
he does
bugged.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
he does that. I've had more problems
Beard's like, yeah, he does that.
He does that. I've actually had more problems with Amanda because sometimes when I go to talk with her, all of a sudden I'm bumped back out of the menu, and she like just because she moves position, and all of a sudden I can't like talk to her, and I have to like re-interact in order to do it. It's so weird.
Yeah, I was able to give Amanda hers. I haven't actually made too many cookies yet because I know
I've made most of them.
I can't figure out how to trigger to get sharp edged.
Sharp edge. All right, I'm gonna send you a link. Sharp edge is sword kills.
Sword kills? Okay. No wonder I'm having trouble with it.
I'm gonna say if you want the list, I'm sure I have the list, but I'm pretty sure that Blue is going to give you the list.
I mean, I have the list
That's
of
how
the
to find them.
cookies.
Do you have the list of the recipes?
Yeah, I have the recipe one.
Oh boy, I can make a lot of strange cookies.
That's fitting.
I have 28 taken butter, 25 electric flavor, and over 200 essence right now.
I'm still happy that the cocoa projection looks like a cup of coffee, and the fact that I got my quill ghost projection, so my ghost has the little writing quill. I was like, I'm done. We're good.
You can buy them from Eva? I didn't realize that.
Some of them you can.
Yeah.
Needs to be a pile of cookies in your failsafe. Do we give failsafe cookies? I haven't even gotten that far.
Yes, because that's where you find out that then she spends an hour trying to figure out a way to say happy dawning.
Oh, dear God. She doesn't spend that hour while you're there, right?
No. With another guardian.
Okay.
That's what they just posted over in the Destiny lore from Did You Know Destiny today.
Ah, okay. Yay, thank you, Blue.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's I mean, seriously, that's been how I've been getting through this stuff.
Yeah. I've just
But
been
make sure
doing my
the
normal
only thing that I've seen so far on Reddit is make sure to get burnt edges before you masterwork it. Yeah.
Yeah, the recipe for burnt edges is
literally just screw it up.
2 ingredients that
just screw it up.
Okay. Those are the ones we have to give to Rahul, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So, did you see somebody did a bad Destiny joke that wasn't Cole about burnt edges? Oh my God! So, God, I wish I could find it. See if I know she retweeted it. Let me just see if I can find it.
Yeah, I hit 550.
Hunter, why is Titan forcing cookies down Master Rahul's throat? Warlock. I think it has to do with the 30 edge transits Rahul gave him. Titan can't breathe. Here, have another cookie. Happy fucking dawning, you blue bastard.
It just makes me picture the Aladdin, Iago. Polly want a cracker.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm imagining happening to Rahul. Oh, it's so good. Honestly, like some of the ones that are coming up that people are randomly doing that Cole's retweeting because they tag her in it or they hashtag it are just as good as some of the ones she put out. This one is this one's one of my favorites. I'm just gonna link it in chat because it's one of the dirtier ones.
That's kind of a cool. Oh, completed Forged in the Dark.
That joke.
Me next.
Uh-huh. It's great. And this is the kind of shit she says during like when we're playing together.
my
The
god.
funny
The funny thing
lot of
is you can actually take that a couple different ways.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Like they're not all bad. Most of them
No, they're
are.
not.
Most of them are. But
Yeah.
Well, the problem is how your brain ends up interpreting them, which is kind of the brilliant thing about them too.
The
Like
terrible
they
thing
could
is
absolutely be like absolute innocent, but the way that our brain is going to interpret it just says many things about us.
well, okay, when you hang out with Cole,
Except for the fact that we all know that that's not what Cole is actually doing, and she really is just an absolute dirty-minded person.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Completely fine.
Like, it's amazing how she just has no filter. Some of the shit she says while we're gaming together, it's ridiculous.
Oh, I know.
It's if you guys ever see I streamed with I did a dual stream with her a couple weeks ago.
apparently I
If you
wasn't
ever-
supposed to host you.
Oh, I didn't want it to be on Focus Fire Chat because it was going to be really, really dirty. Because I know.
Yeah, that's why we have a mature filter on the Twitch channel. It's because during game streams, believe me,
yeah,
you guys might have been dirty, but some of the words that have been said during custom fights with our teams.
Oh no, we have no filters whenever we're gaming Black Flag.
Yeah,
It's just
we're the same. I think everyone
yeah,
is
it's
the
just
same.
yeah. And if you don't mind, it's like being streamed on Focus Fire Chat. I can just stream from Focus Fire Chat. I just didn't want to do it because I didn't.
Yeah, no, go for it.
I was worried about that.
I would just say, just iterate in the title that it's mature game
it's
night
green
or something
stream.
like that.
Yeah, okay, I can do that. But yeah, the stuff.
What the fuck is this sparrow?
Which one?
This is the most atrocious looking piece of crap I've ever seen.
Which one?
The dawning thing.
The sleigh?
Dawning cheer. No.
I don't know what that was.
It looks like a demented Harley mixed with Santa's sleigh.
Oh yeah. It drops glimmer while you drive it.
Okay, well then I might actually use it.
Yeah, there's a perk on it where it drops the glimmer, and if you do a trick with it, it will drop more glimmer. Yeah, I think it's a hideous sparrow, honestly, but
All right, what color can I put on this to make it even more? Oh my god, that is horrible.
although
Put
you know what it
watermelon on
reminds
it.
me of?
Put watermelon on it.
I haven't gotten it yet. I still have to finish up some of it, but what it reminds me of is the Dresden Files when Santa rides with them.
Yes. Yeah.
This is I could see this being what he's writing in that book.
That's a really good point, actually. That actually makes me accept it a little bit.
Yay.
I'm trying to find the most disgusting color combination I can find. It's really actually difficult because all of them are horrible.
The Iowa ones I tend to really dislike, or the really bright orange ones.
Oh my god, buffer overflow.
Are you streaming it?
No,
No, you're not.
Where'd my stream screen go?
Oh, by the void.
Why? Hang on, let me. Do I have it in here? I thought I did. Yeah, there it is.
And Ice Hawk is equipping the shader to see what it looks like as you're saying them.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, so that's the purple one.
Okay.
That one's not terrible. Dead orbits are like whatever. They're all black, which is why I use them. Don't buffer overflow.
Oh my god, why? It's so red.
Beast field scale.
Blue.
Oh my god. This is why I need Jester back. Jester Apogee. I need that shader back. Because you want to put that shit on something like this and just like,
that
oh my god. That was Destiny 1.
Okay.
I don't even know if they have Apogee still.
Ugh. So many of those are so gaudy.
Oh yeah, this entire thing is. I mean, like by itself, it's not that. Here, let me take the preview off. Like
oh god.
The blue and gold by itself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the default shader.
Right.
So I mean, pretty much anything I put on it's gonna make it better.
Jesus.
I actually do like the Descendant Vex Chrome. I like a lot of the.
Mad Monk was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always like the Vex, the older Vex one.
Yeah, the what is that?
Descendant.
Chrome. Yeah, I like how it makes it look rusted / That's not clouds at sea.
Like patinaed.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
This is the best one. Ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
I haven't seen it. Hasn't actually equipped yet. Here we go. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I think that's the one I'm going with too.
You know what that reminds me of? Juicy fruit. Like the animal juicy fruit. Bubble gum.
I'm like, if I have to ride around in this god awful looking thing, I'm gonna make it just as painful for you as it is for me.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow, that's purple. Yeah, I'm going with watermelon.
It looks how I feel. Black Flag.
This is
Are you
awesome,
psychedelic, bro. Black Flag? Because that's what I see with that.
Look, so this is what I was saying on the shader. I think that's so cool. The animation.
Yeah, that's the only one that I know of that does that. And it's one that drops when you break down, I think, Tiger Spite.
Oh, I don't even know where I got it.
Because it's one of the Dreaming City shaders. You can check in the This
is honestly still one of my favorite ones.
Items.
The G335.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Because it looks like a freaking pod racer.
Yeah.
I just like it I like the animation when you get on it. Actually, this is the
Do you know
armory little ship, the little bug ships.
Uh-huh. Have you seen? Oh, I hate those bug ships. Have you seen the one that looks like a tractor? The Sparrow.
Yes.
I fucking love that thing.
I lost my mind when I saw that, and then I saw it in the game the other day, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
I put a John Deere green shader on that damn thing, and I will go mow the Dreaming City's lawn all afternoon. It's so fucking funny.
Need to go.
Oh shit!
Need to go give this people.
All right.
Oh my god.
All right, guys.
All right, let's go deliver cookies.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and hop off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do one more forge and then head to bed here, I think.
Yeah. It's nighttime. It's time to go sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I gotta go.
Your ass is grass and she's mowing the Dreaming City's lawn. Yes, Icehawk. That is accurate. That is accurate.
Did all this shader dismantled a curated role weapon? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm running watermelon right now. It's just it's just the worst shader. I love Jake, but I cannot stand that shader. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I'm pretty sure the Apogee never made it to Destiny 2.
No, it didn't.
Nighto, everyone. Night doom.
Night.
Night chat.
Night chat. Hey, bye.
Go to sleep, Beard.
Yeah, soon.
Doom. Tits race Peter.
Mm-hmm. Bye, guys.
Night, Green. All right, chat. See you guys later. Like I said, we are going to be planning on streaming once we get back from the holidays on the 30th. And I'm hoping to figure out a time that is going to be doable for everyone. It'll probably be in the afternoon again. But we will get you updates on that in Discord as much as possible. So, but we'll see you later. And of course, I hopefully will be able to be a little bit more active in Discord coming this next week because I'll be on vacation. Finally, I get some time off. So I might actually have time to do other stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to chat with everyone a little bit more. But you guys have a great night and we will see you guys later.